Chapter 142. Everyone's hearts could not calm down for a long time. Why was the box able to speak? But this was no longer important. This box's lecture was just too good. Even the best teacher in Central State Academy could not compare to even 100th of it. That outstanding and advanced gaze, that wise and sharp point of view. Perfect, it was too perfect. It would be great if they could hear it again. Everyone began to discuss with each other. Each person had a look of pleasant surprise and excitement on their faces, because they saw an opportunity. This was a chance to change their destiny. Everyone quiet down. I know the doubts in your hearts, so I'll explain it to you right now. Chu Tian took out the disc and raised it up high, letting everyone see it clearly. This small disc has the ability to store sound. As for this device, it can read the stored sound and play it back. Therefore, it is named phonograph. Phonograph? Good name. Good name. After Chu Tian said this, he gently snapped his fingers. Yin Xiao quickly came out with a large plate. There were over 20 magnetic sound discs neatly stacked on top of it. Each disc was personally recorded by Chu Tian. It includes cultivation technique analysis, martial arts guidance, alchemy, talisman, arrays, and other fields. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Do you want to listen to Chu Tian's lecture? Do you want to share Chu Tian's wisdom? Do you want to learn Chu Tian's knowledge? An opportunity bestowed by the heavens is right in front of you. I believe that as long as you study in Qilin Hall for a week, everyone will be reborn and everyone will experience an unprecedented transformation. There is no doubt that this is a place that can change your destiny. Teaching is the main business of Qilin Hall right now. Our business is not limited to this. In the future, as the training hall continues to develop, we will introduce even more special services. We will create cultivation plans and special training for everyone, increasing their strength and cultivation bases. We want to create the strongest training organization in history. Yin Xiao can be reborn. You can do it too. Pa pa pa. Everyone's eyes turned red, and they all stood up to wildly applaud. How could they not be crazy? Yin Xiao had been reborn in just a few days. He had gone from a useless playboy to a genius. He could do it. Why can't we? Nangong Yin also admired Chu Tian from the bottom of her heart. Although he didn't personally appear to teach everyone, he came up with the idea of creating this phonograph and indirectly teaching by recording the lessons in sound. Not only could it attract talents for miracle commerce, it could also greatly increase its influence, and it could even earn a large sum of money. There were too many benefits, and it was more than just killing 3 birds with 1 stone. I really don't know how he came up with that. As long as Chu Tian recorded 1 copy, he could make thousands of copies. The value that could be created from this could not be measured with money. This temptation was something that all the students could not resist. What's the big deal about giving money? Qilin Hall could give people a brand new future. This would become the most amazing training class in Central State City's history. Nangong Yin looked at the people who were filled with excitement and joy. It was like she could already see the explosive future of Qilin Hall. Perhaps when these people looked back in the future, they would know just how lucky they were to join Qilin Hall. Chu Tian's tone changed. But there's no such thing as a free lunch. All of Qilin Hall's services require a fee. As soon as he said that, everyone calmed down. That's right, Miracle Commerce did not have the obligation to train them for free, and Qilin Hall did not have the obligation to give them benefits for free. Qilin Hall will open many classes in the future, and they will all be charged. Currently, each class will be priced from 1 to 500,000 gold coins. What? 1 to 500,000 gold coins? It was just a single class. Even if Yin Tianhe personally taught a class, it would not be this expensive. Chu Tian continued to say, "Everyone, don't think it's too expensive. The class that you just listened to for free was only the lowest class worth 10,000 gold coins. The higher the fee, the more valuable the content. Sometimes it will even talk about new technology that has not appeared on the continent yet. If you can benefit from it, the value will be 10 times or even 100 times greater. The class that they just listened to was only the lowest class that cost 10,000 gold coins. This was 10 times or 100 times better than any teacher in Central State City. Then how much value would the most expensive class have? This phonograph was something that had never been heard of in Central State City before, so it was already a priceless treasure. This kind of fee was completely reasonable. Of course, you are all senior members of Chelan Hall, so you should receive special treatment. If you want to join Chelan Hall now, you'll need to pay 100,000 gold coins. Not only will you be exempted from the 100,000 gold coins membership fee, you will also become an official member of Chelan Hall. You will also enjoy other special benefits. 100,000 gold coins membership fee? Could it be that the people that wanted to join Chelan Hall would have to pay at least 100,000 gold coins? None of the organizations in Central State Academy dared to charge this much. This was just too crazy. Only Chelan Hall members have the qualifications to listen to the middle and high-level classes. Because the training hall has just begun to develop, it urgently needs to expand. Right now, we are opening up a recommendation reward event. For every low-level class, as long as you bring an outsider that has never attended before, you will receive half of the fee. For every person that you recommend to join the training hall, you will receive 50,000 gold coins worth of tuition subsidies. You will also receive a 5% discount on all purchases made in the training hall. If you can recommend 50 people to join the training hall, not only will you receive a large amount of tuition subsidies and an 8% discount, you will also be promoted to a high-level training hall member. All low-level classes will be at half price, and you will also receive the qualifications to buy low-level class discs. If you can recommend 100 people to join the association, not only will you enjoy the privileges mentioned above, you will also receive a 10% cash rebate, a limited edition phonograph, and 5 sets of low-level course discs for free every month. Furthermore, you will also receive the right to open a branch library. This series of benefits caused everyone's eyes to be dazzled. Whether it is inside or outside of Central State Academy, Chelan Hall will treat everyone equally. Everyone can bring their friends, family, and brothers to join. As long as they are not from the Chu, Luo, or Yi families, Chelan Hall will accept them. Chu Tian continued to announce, "Do you want to obtain more knowledge? Do you want to earn a large sum of money? Then go and do it. Next, I will announce the class schedule for tomorrow." Yin Xiao came out with a red notice that was as tall as a person and placed it in front of everyone. On the board, there were large golden words that stated the names of the classes. 36 Beginner Alchemy Skills 1, 20,000 yuan. 36 Beginner Symbol Crafting Skills 1, 20,000 yuan. 36 Beginner Combat Martial Skills 1, 20,000 yuan. 81 Beginner Array Skills 1, 30,000 yuan. 30 Beginner Cultivation Techniques 1, 80,000 yuan. The cheapest class here cost 20,000 yuan, and the most expensive class cost 80,000 yuan. Everyone noticed that the classes had serial numbers, which meant that it was a complete set of classes. Did they have to listen to several dozen classes for a single class? With such a high price for each class, how much money would it cost to listen to a single class? Everyone did a simple calculation and broke out in a cold sweat. However, they were not afraid. Rather, they were filled with excitement. Opportunity. This was a giant opportunity. The more classes there were, the more knowledge there would be. If they listened to the entire class, how big of a transformation would they receive? The more money they spent, the more opportunities they would have. As senior members of Chelan Hall, if they recommended people to join, they would be able to enjoy a high discount. If they recommended a rich person, they would be able to learn the entire class. Just the money they would receive would be enough for them to study and cultivate. Those who paid attention would find that these were all beginner basic classes. Then would there be intermediate basic classes, advanced basic classes, and above the beginner basic classes, how many advanced classes were there? Knowledge. It was all knowledge. This was simply a sea of knowledge. Only each type of knowledge required money to buy. Chu Tian's speech ended here. Nangong Yin suppressed the excitement in her heart, and her face turned red. She stood up and loudly shouted, "Did you all hear me clearly? Don't say that elder sister doesn't share good things with you. Quickly go. I've already given you the opportunity. Go develop the market, go advertise, and go bring new people to the training hall. Whether you can earn money or not, Whether you can make a comeback will all depend on your own skills. Yes, everyone began to leave. They were like a pack of hungry wolves that couldn't wait to hunt. Nangong Yin pulled Chu Tian to the side. Boss, aren't you a bit too ruthless? A single class costs several tens of thousands. Will there really be people coming? You have to know that 10,000 gold coins to a normal cultivator is a large sum of money. It's enough for a normal person to live a carefree life. Yin Xiao also felt that this fellow Chu Tian was too ruthless. Even a famous grandmaster like his grandfather would not dare to charge this much for a single class. Wasn't this ripping people off? Chu Tian's asking price was too black, and this was only the basic content. A single class would cost at least 1 million, and at most several million. Who would come at this price? The training hall hadn't even opened yet, so there wouldn't be an awkward silence. Who would have thought that Chu Tian would disdainfully say, "What do you know? No matter how much money you spend to listen to Father's class, it's not worth it. I want to teach you more advanced content, but you haven't even learned how to crawl. Can you even fly? Don't waste words. Hurry up and tidy up. This place will be very crowded in the next few days." Who told him to be the boss? The two of them could only helplessly do as he said. Since this place was already half dead, it wouldn't be that bad. Actually, the content Chu Tian had recorded was only the most basic of the basics. Chu Tian did not even take out any of his personal items and just followed his memory. He recited all the textbooks from the future and made them into magnetic sound discs. Just like this. He dared to ask for a sky-high price. There was a reason for Chu Tian's confidence. The contents of the textbooks were tens of thousands of years ago, the crystallization of countless scholars. Even the most basic textbooks were written 30,000 years ahead of time. Some of the basic formations, runes, and formulas mentioned in the book were all priceless existences in this era. Was Chu Tian's price expensive? It wasn't expensive at all. Chu Tian had established the Qilin Hall to earn money for himself and to attract talents. He wanted to recruit people from miracle commerce and pave the way for its future development. Of course, although he did not directly show his face, his actions were too big. It would attract the attention of many families in Central State, and all kinds of troubles could not be avoided. Chu Tian had already prepared his heart. What would come would come. When was he afraid? Chapter 143. Zhao Kuan left Qilin Hall and was filled with excitement as he walked back. The phonograph was an epic-making invention, perhaps even more creative than the electric light. The lessons recorded in these magnetic sound discs were more than a few thousand years ahead of the Academy, causing Zhao Kuan to be shocked. He could not wait to listen to all the lessons. I thought it was strange. How did that bastard Yin Xiao improve so quickly? If I had this kind of resources, I wouldn't lose to this guy at all. It was just that Zhao Kuan was born in a poor family and did not have the support of a wealthy family. Such expensive tuition fees. Even if he sold his pots and pans, he would not be able to afford it. Zhao Kuan was not willing to fall behind others. You can't die from holding in your urine. There must be a way. The surrounding curtain of night shook a few times, and several figures suddenly jumped out, instantly surrounding Zhao Kuan. Not good. Zhao Kuan turned his head and wanted to escape. I've waited so long for you. This fierce-looking man stood in front of him with a cold expression. The other 6 people also had powerful auras. They were all experts with extraordinary strength. Wang Meng, what are you doing? Wang Meng was ranked 26th on the Azure Dragon leaderboard, while Zhao Kuan was ranked 26th on the Vermilion Bird leaderboard. On the surface, their rankings were the same, but Wang Meng was much stronger than Zhao Kuan. Of the 4 campuses of Central State Academy, the Vermilion Bird Courtyard was the weakest. The experts on the Vermilion Bird ranking could not compare to the other 3 rankings. What for? Wang Meng cracked his knuckles, and popping sounds came from his knuckles. He revealed a fiendish smile as he looked at him. I've already warned you not to go to the Qilin Dojo. What was the result? You treat my words as farts. If I don't give them a taste of suffering, who will listen to me in the future? Damn it, they really came to look for trouble. Wang Meng alone was hard enough to deal with, not to mention the number of people on the other side. Boss, Why are you talking nonsense with him? Beat him until he can't stand and pee. Let's see if he still dares to disobey. Wang Meng's brothers were eager to try. Withdrawing is impossible. Zhao Kuan also threw caution to the wind, his face full of determination as he roared. My rotten life is worthless. Take it if you can. Wang Meng was puzzled. Are you constipated? Wasn't it just quitting the club? It's as if you want to kill your own father. Is there a need to do this? You know nothing. How dare you talk to me like that? Wang Meng flew into a rage and was about to attack. Zhao Kuan suddenly had an idea and shouted, Wang Meng, why didn't you use your brain to think about it? Why did Yun Xiao suddenly become famous in the Vermilion Bird Courtyard? Why did Yun Xiao publicly join Qilin Hall after being in the limelight? He is advertising for Qilin Hall. Wang Meng was confused. Advertisements? What advertisement? Yun Xiao has been reborn after studying in Qilin Hall for 3 days. Even you wouldn't be able to block 2 slashes from him now. Is it true? Wang Meng was shocked. You don't believe me? Zhao Kuan's eyes flashed. How about we make a deal? Qilin Hall has a few classes tomorrow, and I recommend you attend. One class costs 20,000 gold coins. Uft. Wang Meng was furious. 20,000 gold coins for a lesson. This bastard is treating me like a fool. Everyone charge. Beat him up. Zhao Kuan also threw caution to the wind. I will help you. Wang Meng was stunned again. 20,000 gold coins. Although it wasn't a lot of money, it wasn't a small amount. At the very least, a normal body refinement cultivator would not be able to take out this much money. Even for awakened soul cultivators like them, 20,000 gold coins was enough to buy an elixir to increase their cultivation. Zhao Kuan said, I'll help you pay for it. If you're satisfied, then you can return the money to me. If you're not satisfied, then I won't give you a single cent. Was this true or false? Everyone stared at each other with wide eyes. 20,000 gold coins for a lesson. This kind of fee was close to the top scholars in Central State. Could there be a mysterious expert hidden in Qilin Hall? Thinking about Yun Zhao's changes over the past 2 days, this was completely possible. Brother Meng, what do we do? I think we can give it a try. After all, Yun Zhao's changes are too strange. Since this fool is paying, let's join in the fun. Wang Meng and his brothers were filled with curiosity. It was just like what Shu Tian had said. To the Central State Academy students, knowledge was far more enticing than money. All right, we'll give it a try. If I find out that you're speaking nonsense, Father will beat you until you can't piss your pants. Zhao Kuan let out a sigh of relief. They had finally escaped this calamity. Wang Meng led his brothers away. When they returned to the Azure Dragon Courtyard, there were many students discussing something. Did you hear? A mysterious treasure has appeared in Central State Academy. Treasure? What treasure? It's something called a phonograph. It can record everything a person says into it, and it's said that there are people on the level of a grandmaster that are using this to spread their lessons. Is this true or false? You don't believe me. I saw it with my own eyes. There are even rumors saying that Yun Xiao was reborn because he had been trained there. Is this true or false? How about we go and take a look? Wang Meng and the others were stunned. That brat really wasn't speaking nonsense. In just a short night, the news had spread throughout Central State Academy. When the disciples of Qilin Hall returned home, they tried to convince their friends and family members, try to win them over. Winning people over not only brought them benefits, it also brought them unexpected surprises. With Qilin Hall's resources, it was inevitable for them to rise. So the earlier they joined, the better. Phonograph? What was that? They had never heard of it before. With several dozen mouths spreading it, it became even more mysterious. How could machines speak? What nonsense! What kind of principle was the phonograph made? Another, even more important piece of news was spread. Yun Xiao being reborn and reaching the 2nd rank of the Vermilion Bird rankings was also because of this. How could this be? Everyone began to ask around and find the source. The Vermilion Bird Academy's Qilin Hall. This was a normal training hall, but it had a series of classes. The fees were so high that it made people's hair stand on end. But with Qilin Hall's high price and Yun Zhao's image as their spokesperson, as well as the mysterious phonograph, With these two big gimmicks and the recommendation of the training hall's members, people couldn't help being skeptical. There were some rich people that decided to give it a try. The next morning, it was the first day of business for Qilin Hall. What kind of training hall is this? Wang Ming walked into the simple Qilin Hall and looked around. They actually have the nerve to run a business like this? Zhao Kuan was too lazy to care about him and went to pay the fees. This way, please. There were a total of 5 classes today, and 3 of them cost 20,000 gold coins. Zhao Kuan's class was 30 kinds of foundation martial arts 1. The training hall was very big, and there were 20 to 30 prayer mats. Currently, there were only around 10 people. Most of them were familiar faces, and there were only a few unfamiliar faces. Yin Xiao gave a yawn and walked out while digging his earwax. Sit properly. Sit properly. Everyone be quiet. Everyone instantly shut their mouths. After he became famous in the academy, no one dared to offend him anymore. Yin Xiao's appearance in Qilin Hall had undoubtedly confirmed the rumors and filled the newcomers with anticipation. He took out a heavy phonograph and placed it in the center. Prepare yourselves. It's starting. Yin Xiao carefully placed a magnetic sound stone in and activated the phonograph array. It began to operate, and a noise came from the loudspeaker. Z, Z, Z. The entire training hall was silent. No one blinked, and they all pricked up their ears to listen. Finally, a low and clear voice came from the loudspeaker. Hello, everyone. Wang Ming and the others who were listening for the first time all opened their eyes wide in shock, as if they had seen a ghost. This was too mysterious. This rough and heavy machine could really speak by itself. For these people who lived in this era, even if they broke their heads, they still wouldn't know what was going on. Today's class is the first of the 36 kinds of foundation martial arts. Fighting ability is a quality that a cultivator must have. So how can you effectively increase your fighting ability? Have you already displayed your strongest battle strength? Today's class will discuss this problem through foundation martial arts. The disc slowly turned on the phonograph. At this moment, time seemed to freeze. Everyone had the same expression on their faces. That low and deep magnetic voice came from the flower-shaped loudspeaker. From different angles, it analyzed the essence of martial arts and introduced a few very practical battle techniques. It even explained the classical martial arts taught in the academy, breaking them down and improving them one by one. Wang Ming's surprise gradually turned into a pleasant surprise before finally turning into shock. He was originally filled with disdain. What was so good about learning foundation martial arts? Wasn't this the same routine for thousands of years? Even if it was explained and improved, would it be able to soar to the sky? After listening to the detailed explanation from the phonograph, Wang Ming realized for the first time that there were actually so many unbelievably profound techniques in foundation martial arts. What was called 10,000 transformations returned to the origin. What was called the Great Tao is the simplest. These seemingly simple martial arts were harder to innovate and improve. Wang Ming only realized at this moment that the foundation martial arts that he had painstakingly trained for so many years were worse than trash. It was simply full of loopholes. Unbelievable. Unimaginable. The more Wang Ming listened, the more excited he became. The more he listened, the more shocked he became. The voice from the phonograph was like an extremely experienced master. Not a single word was nonsense. Every word contained wisdom, and every theory far surpassed the thousands of years of knowledge in books. This was a brand new foundation martial arts system. Wang Ming was overwhelmed with emotions at this moment. It was as if he had discovered a new continent. Today's class will end here. If you want to know more, please pay attention to the second broadcast of the 36 kinds of foundation martial arts. In the second broadcast, we will introduce a few classical movement techniques that will allow you to advance and retreat freely in battle. Goodbye, everyone. It's over? How could it be over? Why is it over? Continue broadcasting. Wang Ming stood up. I'll pay. Yin Xiao carelessly sat beside the phonograph and glanced at him. Fuck, you can listen as long as you pay. Do you think you're listening to a play in a brothel? Scram. Wang Ming forcefully scratched his head. This was too torturous. Because the lecture was too good, most of the time he was in a shocked state. When he came back to his senses, the lecture was already over and he did not remember much of the content. It had to be known. The master's lecture seemed very simple, but it actually contained a lot of information. It was worth carefully studying. Zhao Kun stood up with a notebook in his hand. You wrote down notes? Wang Ming glanced at the notebook and saw that it was densely packed. He was like a man who had eaten several pounds of aphrodisiac and saw a naked beauty. He excitedly jumped up and reached out to grab it. Quick, let me see it. This master has many theories and hidden knowledge. I will need to study it for a few days before I can fully understand it. Why should I give it to you? Zhao Kun did not give him any face. Do you know how much this knowledge is worth? The money for today's lecture was even paid for by me. Wang Ming loudly roared, Fuck! What does 20,000 gold coins count for? Can this be measured with money? You're King vulgar. You want money, right? Father has money. I'll give you 100,000 to buy your notebook. Quickly, let me see it. I want it too. Me too. My family has money. Let me see it first. The people Wang Ming brought all gathered around him. Fuck! Wang Ming's eyes almost popped out. Are you rebelling? Who is the boss? Scram for me. Wang Ming's prestige was very high. If he said one, no one dared to go against him. Of course, that was normal. Today's development had far surpassed anyone's expectations. Young Master Wang Ming is too arrogant. I've been unhappy with you for a long time. We will be Qilin Hall's people in the future, so we need to draw our boundaries. That's right, this fellow has beaten up Qilin Hall's people, so we don't want to be associated with you. Humph! Daring to beat up Qilin Hall's people is the same as beating up our fellow citizens. We will never coexist with you from now on. Wang Ming was about to explode with anger. These grandsons were burning bridges after crossing the river. When we beat up Qilin Hall's members, didn't you all have a part in it? Now that you've wiped your butts and left, it's fine if you betray us, but you still want to put shit on Father's head. What is this? If he couldn't join Qilin Hall because of this matter, wouldn't that be asking for his life? Chapter 144. Yes, he was the one who beat me last time. Several senior Qilin Hall elders came over with faces filled with anger. How could I let this go? This fellow had taken the lead to beat up Qilin Hall's students. It was fine if he didn't find Elder Sister Nangong to beat him up, but this fellow actually came to the training hall to listen to a lecture. Wang Ming's expression changed. Wait, it was a misunderstanding. I was also bewitched by others, so I did such a stupid thing. Cut the crap and chase him out. Get lost. You're not welcome here. Wang Ming was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. It would have been fine if he was rejected by a normal training hall, but the knowledge he could learn in Qilin Hall could definitely change his fate. How could he be willing to give up like this? I'll compensate you for your mental damage and medical expenses. If it still doesn't work, I'll let you guys beat me up. As long as I don't die or become crippled, I'll endure it. Wang Ming threw caution to the wind. All right, everyone, don't be angry. Zhao Kun saw that everyone was filled with righteous indignation and immediately came out to be the peacemaker. Since he is willing to compensate us, then let him compensate us. Right now is the time for Qilin Hall's expansion, so turning enemies into friends is a good thing. Wang Ming was sweating profusely as he nodded repeatedly. Yes, everyone will be a family from now on. If anyone dares to go against Qilin Hall, then they will be going against me. Wang Ming. Zhao Kun had quite a bit of influence in Qilin Hall, so everyone gave him some face. You want to join the guild? Zhao Kun's gaze swept across the few of them. Then pay the membership fee of 100,000 gold coins first. Membership fee of 100,000 gold coins. That was indeed a little high. He had never heard of any dojo that dared to charge such a high entrance fee. Do you think you'll lose out by paying 100,000 yuan? Let me tell you, Qilin Hall's newest benefit. Out of the 100,000 gold coins, 50,000 gold coins will be deposited in the Qilin Gymnasium as your tuition fees. In the future, your tuition fees will be directly deducted from these fees. From now on, the full amount of the membership fee you pay every month will be deposited into your tuition fees. Anyway, it's money that has to be spent. After you become a member, You'll be qualified to listen to the intermediate and advanced courses. Is it expensive? Wang Ming said, it's not expensive. Not expensive. Too cheap. I'll pay. A membership fee of 100,000. 50,000 of them would be given to the introducer as a subsidy, and the other 50,000 would be used as his own tuition fees. In the future, a minimum of 5% of the tuition fees would be returned to the introducer. Zhao Kuan did some calculations. This time, he recommended 7 people to join the association. Wouldn't that mean that he had earned 350,000 yuan in tuition fees? These fellows were all born in large families, so each one of them had a lot of money. In the future, they would have to spend a lot of money in Hall. So wouldn't they have a steady stream of passive income? Other than that, with the knowledge obtained from Hall, as long as he studied it at home, he could sell it outside or use other methods to exchange it for money. If that was the case, this Hall was not only a place to cultivate, it was also a good place to start a business. If Zhao Kuan could recommend 100 people to join, not only would he obtain a higher percentage of returns, he would also obtain the right to open a branch library. When Zhao Kuan thought of this, his blood started to boil. Weren't you worried about not having enough money yesterday? Now it seemed like Hall was not only a springboard for him to change his fate, it was also a great cause that was worth fighting for. The latest benefits. Yun Xiao walked out with a lazy expression. According to Elder Sister's research, we've made a decision. Hall will have a free open class every month that only official members can enjoy. Other than that, normal members will have a 20% discount. Our Hall is only open for the first time, and our resources are very limited, so we will be recruiting a limited number of people. If you're late, there won't be any left. If you don't join now, there won't be any spots left. What? There was a limited number of people? Why didn't you say so earlier? What 100,000 gold coins count for? Wang Ming's group anxiously rushed over and slapped several gold coin cards on the table. Their faces turned red as they handed them over. I want to join Hall right now. I'll save 500,000 gold coins first. Everyone rushed forward, striving to be the first. The popularity of this scene far surpassed their expectations. Yin Zhao's heart was secretly filled with joy. Boss really had foresight. He and Nangong Yin were worried about the awkward atmosphere, but the number of people joining far surpassed their expectations. God, if this trend continued, he and his elder sister would be able to take 10% of the income, which would be a terrifying number. He pretended to not care. What are you so anxious for? One by one, line up. Over 10 people lined up to join Hall. The lowest one paid 100,000 gold coins, and the highest one directly took out all of their money to strengthen their determination to join Hall. This was truly ironic. Wang Ming had received a bribe from someone before. He had brought people to beat up Hall's members and tried to destroy Hall's development. In the end, he had been brought by Zhao Kuan for a lesson and changed sides without any hesitation. This was the charm of knowledge. This was the power of knowledge. It was hard to resist, and it made people go crazy. Nangong Yin counted the numbers at night and was so excited that she almost spat out a mouthful of blood. There were a total of 5 lessons today, and we gained over 30 members. We earned over 3 million gold coins in membership fees and over 1 million gold coins from the lessons. There were even a few people who directly deposited several 100,000 gold coins. Our total income today is over 7 million gold coins. They had earned over 7 million gold coins in a single day. Yun Xiao almost fainted from fright. This was only the first day. Hall's influence had not been completely released yet, but the number of members had already doubled, and they had earned a large amount of money. If this continued to develop, wouldn't it be terrible? After Chu Tian obtained this number, he gave a satisfied nod. It's a bit better than what I imagined. Keep working hard tomorrow. We'll only accept 300 people for the first period, and we'll raise the threshold a bit. I don't want any random cat or dog to come in, especially the fellows from the 3 great families. Nangong nodded. You can be assured. Yin Xiao, go and tell your sister that we'll be in trouble and might even be in danger. Tell her to keep an eye on the people from the three great families and report to me if anything strange happens. Understood. After seeing Chu Tian's miraculous way of making money, how could the two of them not admire him? They had never seen this kind of scene before. Everyone was rushing to give him money, as if they would miss out on a spot if they were a step late. On the second day, Hall's situation was even more lively than yesterday. There were over 100 people who came to Hall to listen to the lessons, but Hall's recruitment standards had been raised. They did not accept those who were too old, they did not accept those who were too weak, and they did not accept those from the three great families. In the end, they only accepted half of the people. That day's total income reached 8 million gold coins. The people who were not accepted were all anxious. It was a good thing that Hall did not have any high-level classes. Outsiders could still attend the normal classes, but they did not have as many benefits. This was not a long-term plan. Those who did not have enough strength quickly went home and found people who met the requirements. No matter what, they had to occupy a spot first. There were even some people who persuaded their families to leave the three great families and join the Yun family. They just wanted to join Hall as soon as possible. In just a short 2 days, Hall's total income was 15 million gold coins. The Yun siblings took 10%. Tong Xiaoyu and Jing Hao took 10%. Nangong Yun took 10%. And another 10% was reserved for the development of the hall. The rest was taken by Chu Tian. Not bad. His pockets were bulging again. This was not enough. Chu Tian did not have to worry about money anymore. When Hall's first batch of people was filled, Chu Tian would have enough money to buy the elemental source stone. In this period of time, the Hall members were like a pack of wolves, searching for food all day long. Whether it was in the academy or outside, as long as they did not belong to the three great families and met the requirements, they would all be sent to Hall. Since they could give others an unexpected surprise and also bring benefits to themselves, why wouldn't they do it? This kind of viral marketing had spread in less than a week. There were over 300 Hall members, and it was almost full. The small hall was already filled to the brim. Their total income was over 40 million gold coins. Even if they didn't give the money to their partners, it was still enough to satisfy Chu Tian's needs. This week's profit had already surpassed the total profits of Miracle Commerce. This did not mean that Miracle Commerce's profits were low, but rather that Hall's development had a ceiling. Hall's standards were very high. They had to have a certain cultivation base, a skill, and they had to be young and have potential. In this week's time, the 4 ranked disciples had joined in almost half a day. Their development speed would definitely slow down in the future and knowledge was limited. If Chu Tian wanted to maintain Hall's attraction, he had to constantly update his knowledge, since they had already earned enough money. In order to maintain the quality of Hall, Chu Tian temporarily stopped accepting members. Those who were slow to react could only beat their chests in regret. Other than that, the strong rise of Hall had attracted the attention of many powers in Central State. The 4 campuses were filled with geniuses from the 4 great families, so it was impossible for the 4 great families not to know about Hall's glory. Not to mention the fact that Hall had given a hard and fast rule. The Chu, Yi, and Luo families were not allowed to join. This was clearly making things difficult for the 3 great clans. The boss of Hall on the surface was Miracle Commerce's Nangong Yun, so it was not hard to imagine the cause and effect. Although they did not know what was so special about Hall that it could rise in such a short period of time, how could the 3 great families turn a blind eye to an enemy that had risen so quickly? Because of this, the 3 great families sent out messengers and held a secret meeting to discuss countermeasures. From the speed of Hall's growth, trying to interfere or threaten them would not be effective. This was because there were too many people from small and medium-sized families joining. They had already formed a group and could resist the pressure of the 3 great families. What are you afraid of? Central State City is our territory. Hall only has the Yun family secretly supporting them. If the 3 of us work together, even if we blow up Hall, what can a Yun family do to us? We'll do it together. Each of our 3 families will send out an expert, and we'll use violence to solve it. In short, we can't let them grow any stronger. Not only that, we will also steal their things. As miracle commerce became stronger and stronger in South Sky City, the 3 great families felt like there was a blade on their backs. However, with Shun Fengho's appearance, they could not directly go to Central State to find trouble with Chu Tian. Therefore, the 3 great families could only create news in Central State and pour mud on Chu Tian. They wanted to destroy Chu Tian's image before his influence spread to Central State. However, how many days had it been? Miracle Commerce's influence used this method to gradually take root in Central State City, and Chu Tian had not even made an official appearance yet. Qilin Hall's strategic value far surpassed its economic value. Qilin Hall gathered over 100 disciples of the small and medium-sized families in Central State, with many talents in various fields. Compared to money, Miracle Commerce lacked people more. Other than lacking people, they lacked supporters even more. Once Qilin Hall matured, with Miracle Commerce's backing, it would become a natural talent reserve for Miracle Commerce. Because of this, there would be hundreds of small and medium-sized families that would support them. It had to be said that Miracle Commerce's move was correct. It could be considered killing many birds with one stone, solving several difficult problems. This was a foundation for entering Central State City. From this move, the 3 great families realized that Miracle Commerce was preparing to enter the main city. Their speed was just too fast. The company had only been established for 2 months, and they actually wanted to leave South Sky City to develop in the main city, no matter the cost. Before Qilin Hall could expand, they had to completely kill them. Not only did they have to destroy them, they also had to take away their core technology. This was the territory of the 4 great families. So what could they do even if they went too far? Rather than dragging things out, it was better to settle things in one step and use the most direct and violent methods to achieve their goal. This would show their swift and decisive methods and merciless attitude. Chapter 145. While the 3 great families were making their secret decisions, the Central State Academy was holding an emergency meeting. Yin Tianhe had arrived early and was sitting in the vice principal's seat. Central State Academy had 3 principals, 1 principal, and 2 vice principals. The principal was an official position. After all, Central State Academy was an official institution of Southern Xia. Therefore, Central State Academy was managed by the 2 vice principals. Although the principal had a higher position, he did not participate in the daily management of the academy. Only when there was an important matter would he appear to preside over it. This emergency meeting was called by the principal, and he requested everyone to come to the training hall. Yin Tianhe's eyes swept over the other people present. They were all old fellows, and they all had serious expressions on their faces, as if they had encountered a very troublesome problem. Only Yin Tianhe had a relaxed expression. The recent events had made Yin Tianhe filled with pleasant surprises. The Sir Principal has arrived. A 40 to 50-year-old middle-aged man walked in. He was wearing a sapphire jade crown and was wearing a green robe embroidered with purple patterns. On the outside was a milky white silk jacket. His face was dark, and he had a square face with a small beard, giving people a rigid feeling. Among the Central State Academy's joint principals, Yin Tianhe was the managing principal. He was in charge of the academic affairs and had a very big reputation. After all, Yin Tianhe had a very high status in the Central State academic world, but Central State Academy was an official institution. A local family head could not completely replace the academy. Feng Yunhu was the Central State Academy's principal. Feng Yunhu was the Central State City Vice Mayor and also the Central State Academy's principal. His brother Feng Yunlong was the mayor. The reason why the 2 of them had such a high status was because their clan brothers were the famous Shun Fengho and Feng Yintian. Everyone stood up and bowed. Greetings to the principal. Feng Yunhu walked in front of the principal's seat and looked over everyone as he asked, "Is everyone here? It seems like Vice Principal Shun isn't here yet." She's used to doing things her own way. How could she be late for such an important meeting? As soon as he said this, the temperature in the meeting room dropped. Everyone felt a strong cold current coming from the hallway. It was bone-chilling and incomparably cold. Even the teapots on the table were covered in a thin layer of frost. A woman walked in. Everyone felt a suffocating coldness. Wherever this woman appeared, everything around her would be frozen. That simple black gauze dress made her snow-like skin appear even whiter and more tender. Her temperament was graceful and noble, and her figure was also mature and plump. From her appearance, she looked less than 30 years old. That pair of eyes that were as cold as the night emitted a cold light. There was not a trace of smile on her fair and beautiful face. Her entire face looked like it was in the middle of winter. Cold. This woman gave off the feeling of coldness. That kind of indifference and callousness was like the glaciers in the polar regions, which would not melt even after 10,000 years. Feng Yunhu had just complained when the other party appeared. He couldn't help feeling a bit awkward, and he waved his sleeves. Vice Principal Chun is here. Please sit. Our meeting is about to begin. The black-veiled woman did not say a word. She did not place Feng Yunhu in her eyes at all as she walked to her seat and sat down. Feng Yunhu was already used to this, so he was not angry. Everyone, today, I have an important matter to announce. The once every 5 years Central State trial is about to begin. Each time, 10 youths will participate, and according to the rules, the 4 great families will each have 1 spot. The other 6 spots will be decided in the upcoming Central State Academy Great Competition. The Central State Academy Great Competition is held once every 5 years and is extremely important. Not only is it a stage for the Central State Academy students to display their skills, it is also related to the benefits of the academy. I believe that after working hard for so long, the various academies have already selected the most outstanding young geniuses. But I think that this is just a Central State Academy internal competition. This is a bit too small. It is not good for the youths to broaden their horizons and hone their strength. Everyone's expression changed. Could it be that the principal wanted to change the rules? This was a big matter. Feng Yunhu continued to say, because of this, I propose to make a few minor adjustments. The 4 academies will choose several groups of participants, and we will choose 2 more groups from the young cultivators of Central State City to participate in the great competition. This will let the youths that have been raised in the academy see the style of the Jianghu and also give the other youths of Central State City a chance to display their skills. The principal would not change the rules for no reason. There had to be a reason. But why? There were many high-level members of the Chu, Luo, and Yi families present. This kind of change did not have any benefits to them, because the addition of foreign participants would increase the pressure of competition. Perhaps it would affect the competition between the various academies' disciples. Although the possibility was not high, it was not a guarantee. 2 principals. Feng Yunhu did not wait for the others to speak before asking, do you have any objections? The black-veiled woman softly said, no. Yin Tianhe did not care. Those spots did not have anything to do with his Yun family, so he could not rely on Yin Shao. Although he had been reborn, it was not very likely for him to enter the top 6. Adding 2 more groups compared to the 20 groups of people in the academy does not have much of an impact, so we might as well give it a try. All right, since the 2 principals have no objections, then we will immediately implement it. Feng Yunhu did not give the others a chance to object. Seeing that the 3 principals had agreed, even if the others had objections, they did not dare say anything. They could only silently agree to this modification. It was just adding 2 more groups of people. This should not have any effect on them. It's settled then. After Feng Yunhu solved the most important matter, he said with a serious face, there's also another matter. I've received some feedback in the past few days that the academy has a large-scale practice of skipping classes. The people who are skipping classes are all high-ranked students. With the great competition around the corner, what kind of scandal is this? Don't you want to give me an explanation? Everyone stared at each other with wide eyes. I've already investigated the reason why these students are skipping classes. A high-level member of the Luo family quickly said, they went to a dojo to listen to a lecture. What a big joke. Feng Yunhu was not in the academy often, so he did not understand the academy situation. Since when can a random dojo compete with Central State Academy? This kind of place that affects the student studies should be banned immediately. Cuckoo. Yin Tianhe gave two awkward coughs. Principal, this matter needs to be discussed, and we still need to investigate it. This Qilin dojo does not have any good points. Feng Yunhu looked at Yin Tianhe with dissatisfaction. Old Yin, you are the most knowledgeable person here, so how could you not understand Central State Academy's background? Don't think that I don't know that the founder of this dojo is actually a small Nangong family branch family disciple. What kind of great achievements can he have? These students usually form clubs and work all day long, which I don't approve of. Now that they have even abandoned their cultivation, this matter must be thoroughly investigated. Qilin Dojo could suddenly rise in such a short period of time. This was 100% related to that mysterious youth. Yin Tianhe had investigated everything. The fellow named Lu Run was most likely the famous ghost genius Chu Tian. After Yin Tianhe investigated his true identity, his heart couldn't help feeling a bit worried. Chu Tian's reputation in Central State was not small, and it was mostly fierce and evil. His fierce reputation came from his own fighting. His evil reputation came from the three great clans. This youth had an unprecedented talent, but he had a deep grudge with the three great clans, making him as dangerous as a barrel of gunpowder. If Feng Yunhu investigated Qilin Dojo, it would be hard to guarantee that Chu Tian's identity would not be exposed. Yin Tianhe stood up and said, "All right, then this old man will personally make a trip. As far as I know, an important member of Qilin Dojo is your grandson Yin Xiao." Feng Yunhu softly said, "In order to avoid suspicion, old Yun will not personally deal with this matter. I think, how about Vice Principal Chun make a move?" Yin Tianhe's expression changed. What? Let her make a move? Everyone's eyes fell onto the other principal. If Yin Tianhe was a scholar, then Chun Bingyu was a martial artist. Chun Bingyu was the youngest of the three principals. She was not even 40 years old, and her cultivation base was unfathomable. She was cold the entire day, just like a piece of ice. She gave off a cold aura that repelled people 1,000 miles away. She had been sitting cross-legged with her eyes closed since the beginning of the meeting, as if nothing had anything to do with her. When Chun Bingyu slowly opened her eyes, the temperature of the entire meeting room dropped by several degrees. Feng Yunhu was a bit afraid of this woman, so he did not dare force her to do anything. He only asked in an inquiring tone, "What does Vice Principal Chun think?" Chun Bingyu was silent for 2 seconds before coldly saying, "All right." Yin Tianhe's forehead was covered in cold sweat. It's over. Chun Bingyu's nickname was the Ice Queen. Just like her name, her personality was like ice, and she was as overbearing as a king. When Chun Bingyu did things, she was very direct and did not like to waste time. She was a good friend of Shun Fengho and Feng Yintian. With Shun Fengho's recommendation, Chun Bingyu had become the vice principal. In the entire Central State City, other than Shun Fengho and Feng Yintian, there was basically no one with a higher cultivation base than her. Even Yin Tianhe was inferior in comparison. If this woman wanted to take over Qilin Hall, even Yin Tianhe could not stop her. Chun Bingyu slowly stood up and turned to walk out the door. Feng Yunhu's lips curled into a faint smile. "Old Yun, with Vice Principal Chen's abilities, do you still not believe in her? Let her go." Feng Yunhu seemed to have the intention of going against Qilin Hall. Yin Tianhe left the meeting room. Yin Yao quickly ran over. "Grandfather, I've received news that the three great families are going to deal with Lu Run." Yin Tianhe cut her off. "Let's not talk about this for now. Qilin Hall's situation is not good. Quickly send a message to the little mister. Chun Bingyu will come to cause trouble for them today." "What?" Yin Yao felt like her head had been smashed by a hammer. "Then aren't they finished? I can't personally make a move. Quickly send a message to Chu Tian." Yin Tianhe anxiously said, "You have to be fast, otherwise it will be too late. That woman is cold and ruthless. She will not listen to reason. Let Chu Tian prepare his heart. He had caused a large problem. Yin Yao quickly rushed over to Qilin Hall. When she found out that Chu Tian was meditating, she directly pulled him out and said to his face, "Close the training hall for a few days and hide." Chu Tian asked in a curious voice, "What is this? You wanted to keep an eye on the three great families? There is already news that the three great families will send people, and they will use violence to destroy the hall." Chu Tian had an indifferent expression. "Don't I have you?" Yin Yao was still an expert in the fourth awakened soul layer, and Chu Tian did not believe that the people sent by the three great families would be stronger than Yin Yao. Yin Yao said to Chu Tian with an anxious expression, "I can help you block the people from the three great families, but there is another large character that has been alerted. This person, I can't block them. Even if grandfather comes, he can't block them. Even old man Yin can't block them. Who is this strong?" "Nonsense. Have you heard of the Ice Queen? She is considered to be an expert second only to Shen Feng Ho in Central State City. It can't be. I don't have any grudges with her. Why would she find trouble with me?" The hall had only been open for a week, and they had encountered such a troublesome matter. This was truly a bad start. Forget about the people from the three great families. That woman was not easy to deal with. If she made a move without any explanation, they might not be able to block her, and Qilin Hall would be completely destroyed. Closing the hall is not a good plan. We can hide for a while, but we can't hide forever. Chu Tian's eyes sparkled a few times. "I have a plan that is a bit risky, but we can give it a try. If we succeed, the hall will have another layer of protection, and we won't have to worry about this kind of matter ever again." Yin Xiao was completely speechless. What was this fellow's brain thinking? Did he know how terrifying Chun Bingyu was? Chapter 146. Chun Bingyu walked in front of Qilin Hall. She was wearing a black robe, a large hood, and a veil. Her aura was completely restrained, making it hard for others to see that she was a peak true soul realm expert. There were several hundred students gathered in front of Qilin Hall. Selling notes. Selling notes. It's the latest notebook that's been circulating. It's only 500 gold coins per book. Several clever youths were holding a large pile of manuals as they shouted at the entrance of the Qilin Taoist temple. Immediately, a large group of nearby students surrounded them. "Give me one. I want one too. I want Basic Alchemy, Entry 2. Give me a copy of Basic Formation 3. A large group of students ran over. Most of them were in the body refinement realm, but because they didn't have the qualifications to enter Qilin Hall, or because they were poor, they could only buy notes to study. Oomph. Chun Bingyu knit her brows and revealed a trace of anger. How could Qilin Hall have the qualifications to teach students? Wasn't this just misleading the students? That last Nangong Yun was too unreliable. What Feng Yunhu didn't know was that Chun Bingyu had a hidden identity. She had a deep relationship with the Nangong family. Although not many people knew of this identity, and it wasn't convenient for it to be revealed, Feng Yunhu knew that Chun Bingyu had a hidden identity. However, as the genius of the Nangong family, Nangong Yun had been secretly taken care of by Chun Bingyu from the beginning. Before his daughter left, Nangong Yi had told Chu Tian that there was someone in the upper echelons of Central State Academy who was a member of the Nangong family. This person was Chun Bingyu. Who would have thought that after Nangong Yun came to Central State Academy, other than going to see Chun Bingyu on the first day, she never went to see Chun Bingyu again. She spent all day fighting and causing trouble in the academy, committing all sorts of crimes. Now, everything was fine. He actually created a Taoist dojo. If it had been someone else, Chun Bingyu would have destroyed the dojo directly. However, she still had to give some face to Nangong Yin. While Chun Bingyu was thinking about what to do, she suddenly saw a young man wearing a white robe with golden trim coming out of the dojo. Who else could this person be other than Yin Xiao? Public lecture. Public lecture. The dojo has decided to hold a public class at the last minute. It doesn't matter if you're a member or not. Everyone can participate. The number of people who can sign up is limited, so hurry up and grab this opportunity. Public class? I might as well go and take a look. Chun Bingyu had concealed her aura and put on a simple disguise. Coupled with her extremely deceptive appearance, She looked like a young woman in her 20s. Everyone would only think that she was a student. Who would have thought that she was the vice principal? Chun Bingyu was too beautiful. With this kind of beauty in Central State Academy, she should have been famous a long time ago. Of course, in a place like Qilin Hall, everyone came for knowledge. So what if there were beauties? Beauties still had a lineup. When Chun Bingyu entered the dojo, she almost sat in the last row, but it didn't matter. With her cultivation and strength, even the buzzing of a mosquito would not be able to escape her ears at this distance. Goddess Nangong is out. The male students howled and cheered. A red-haired beauty in training clothes walked out. She had a wonderful figure, a fiery aura, and a beautiful appearance. She had a valiant and heroic aura that a girl shouldn't have. It made people feel close to her, and their hearts couldn't help but ripple. Nangong Yun paced back and forth, glancing at the hundreds of people in the training hall, and said in an old-fashioned manner, "I want to say that you're all in luck. In order to celebrate the successful recruitment of Qilin Hall's first batch of members, we will be holding a free public class today." Chun Bingyu's heart was even more unhappy. "You haven't come to Central State Academy to ask me a few times, and you've been fighting like a hoodlum all day. Now you're pretending to be a lecturer and teaching students. Don't you know how much weight you have? What kind of propriety is this?" Nangong Yin did not notice Chun Bingyu because there were too many people in the public class. She continued to act like a big sister. "Recently, I've been hearing some discussions. They say that the Qilin Hall's classes are all basic knowledge, as if our Qilin Hall doesn't have the ability to take out higher-level things. Is there such a thing? Who is it? Who is speaking nonsense?" Wang Meng loudly shouted. "Who dares slander Qilin Hall? I'll bring people to beat them up." The people in the crowd were filled with righteous indignation, creating an atmosphere of jianghu. "Quiet, quiet." Nangong Yin stopped and pressed her hands down. The crowd instantly became silent, no matter what. Since someone has said this, I can't turn a blind eye to it. So, we will now be broadcasting a higher-level class. The goal is to let you understand that a higher-level class is not something you can learn just because you want to. If you want to learn, you need to have the ability. What? A higher-level class. Everyone's eyes lit up. This was a class worth at least several 100,000 gold coins. Don't blame Elder Sister for not reminding you. This level of class is not something you can grasp. I advise you to prepare your notebooks and write down every word. If this knowledge is taken outside, it will be enough to make a small fortune. Do you hear me? Everyone believed her without a doubt. They quickly pulled out their notebooks and pens, preparing to write down their notes. Chun Bingyu was even more disdainful. This kind of public class actually dared to call it a higher-level class. Don't make people laugh to death. But she would listen to it for now and teach this little girl, Nangong, a lesson. "Yin Xiao, why are you dilly-dallying, brat? Quickly bring out the equipment for this old lady." Coming. Yin Xiao placed the phonograph on the training ground. "It's none of your business." Nangong Yin kicked him scram. Yin Xiao cried out. He was a famous playboy, but in front of Elder Sister, he was like a grandson. Nangong Yin carefully pulled out a disc. This class is 2 hours long and is called Exploring the Essence of Water Energy 1. As the name suggests, it is a class that explores the essence of elemental energy. It will begin now. What a joke. It was actually an exploration of water energy. Chun Bingyu's cultivation technique was the ice and snow qi transformation secret art. This was an ancient cultivation technique excavated from an ancient ruin. It was very deep and profound and was related to water. Chun Bingyu was a martial arts maniac, so she was very good at studying cultivation techniques and martial arts. She even knew how complex and profound it was. A small Qilin Hall dared to talk about exploring the mysteries of water energy. How could this kind of knowledge be casually spoken about? If it wasn't done properly, it would harm their lives. This was enough reason for the training hall to be closed down. I won't say any more nonsense. After placing the disc into the groove of the phonograph's array, Nangong Yun used her spirit energy to activate the array and directly raise the volume to the maximum. The disc slowly rotated above the array, and the sound that was sealed inside was slowly released through the loudspeaker. Hello, everyone. Today we will be talking about the first lesson of Exploring the Essence of Water Energy 1. Everyone opened their notebooks and began to record it down. This was a course worth tens of thousands of gold coins. If they could bring the knowledge home, it would be more than enough to create more value. Chun Bingyu stared at the phonograph and revealed a look of surprise. This was the first time seeing a phonograph, so they were all amazed by this magical invention, an ice-cold machine. How could it have the ability to speak? This was truly incredible. Chun Bingyu was a person who had seen the world. Although it was very complicated and troublesome to preserve sound, there were actually talismans and arrays that could do it. But this kind of low-cost and convenient method was the first time it had appeared on the continent. The invention of this phonograph did not have a small meaning. Water, when it boils, it turns into gas, and when it condenses, it turns into ice. This is one of the most common types of energy. Water is like water. Water nourishes all living things and does not fight, but that does not mean that water is weak. If the sea tilts and the river flows backwards, it is enough to destroy a country. Then what is water energy? Chun Bingyu revealed a cold smile. She wanted to see what kind of novel theory this Qian Hall could come up with. Actually, water and water energy are two different concepts. Water is a kind of substance, and substances have different energies, so they cannot be generalized. Water energy is a kind of energy that has certain characteristics. It is flowing, flexible, and pervasive. Could it be that only water has water energy? Wrong. This is a large misunderstanding. Actually, all living things have water energy. Water is a carrier of water energy, but it is not the only carrier. Chun Bingyu knit her brows. This was becoming more and more difficult to understand. But after carefully tasting it, there seemed to be a bit of flavor to it. For example, a piece of gold is hard and compact. This is its own characteristic. When the gold is melted, the hard and compact characteristic will disappear and it will be replaced by the wild and hot characteristics of fire. This is the energy of fire and the flowing and changing characteristics of water. This is the energy of water, but its essence is gold. Doesn't this mean that water and fire energy are compatible? People often say that water and fire cannot coexist, but this is actually wrong. Ice and fire can come from the same source and can even create stronger cultivation techniques and martial arts based on this principle. That's all for now. Next, we will delve into this topic. I will list several simple cultivation techniques, from the characteristics of energy to the cultivation technique. I hope it will be of help to everyone. When Chun Bingyu heard this, her brows tightly knit together. This point of view was indeed very groundbreaking. It actually made her fall into deep thought. At this time, the voice from the phonograph began to list several cultivation techniques in detail. It dissected them and explained them in detail. From the shallow to the deep, it slowly progressed. Chun Bingyu's expression continued to change. It went from serious to surprised and finally to shock. Mysterious. Mysterious. Was this really a lesson from a broken dojo? When Chun Bingyu heard half of it, her entire view of life was turned upside down. The wonders of water, the changes of water, the spirituality of water, it was explained in detail. It was concise and comprehensive, bold and imaginative, but it went straight to the essence. It mentioned many improvement plans for water cultivation techniques. It was very enlightening. The others were dumbfounded. This knowledge was too profound for them. Although it was explained well, they could not understand it at all. Chun Bingyu, on the other hand, was very different. She had an unprecedented and mysterious feeling that enveloped her. Every word that came out of the phonograph was like a sharp needle that pierced through the stubborn Bayan and pierced into her soul. It made her feel like she had parted the dark clouds and was seeing the sun for the first time. This was a feeling like a dragonfly touching the surface of the water. Every time, it stopped at the right point and purposely did not explain in depth. It made Chun Bingyu feel like she had grasped something, but in the end, there was nothing. Her heart felt like it was being scratched by a cat. It was simply torturous. She who was always calm and steady, wished she could immediately rush up and smash the phonograph to pieces. She wanted to drag the person inside and strangle him to get to the bottom of things. It was too unbelievable. Countless complicated problems were explained in a very simple way. Perhaps this was the most basic content for him. Chun Bingyu was shocked and excited, but she also felt a strong sense of loss. She was just an ant in the end. In front of a real master, she did not even have the qualifications to be his apprentice. I don't even know the basics. Why do I have to be proud of myself? The voice in the phonograph slowly said, "This lesson will end here. If you want to know more, please pay attention to the second lesson of exploration and understanding of the essence of water energy." It's over. It's over. This lesson was very long. It was more than 2 hours long, but Chun Bingyu felt that only 5 minutes had passed. Chun Bingyu realized that there were still many things that she did not understand. Everyone in the dojo stood up and prepared to leave with their notebooks. "Stop!" Chun Bingyu stopped someone. "Lend me your notebook." That person held the notebook in his arms and stared at her, as if she was a thief. "What? This is the fruit of my labor. Why should I let you see it? Do you know how much this book is worth outside?" Chun Bingyu said, "You want money, right? Give me a number and I'll buy it." "Fuck your money. Are you that rich? Are you amazing because you have money? Can this kind of intelligence be measured with money? Vulgar person. Hey, move, move." That person spat out in disdain and even called her a lunatic. Holding the notebook, he quickly left. If he knew that the person asking him for the notebook was the Central State Academy's vice principal, he would have been scared out of his wits. Chun Bingyu did not give up and looked for another person. "What are you doing? You came to listen to the lesson without taking notes. Who can you blame? Quickly move. Don't waste time. I want to go back and study it. Move, move. There's no way you can take notes." Most of the people here were young masters from influential families. These precious notes would be given to their families, and the masters would dig out useful information from them. Then they would publish it in various journals and newspapers, earning a large amount of fame and money. It could be said like this: every lesson in Qilin Hall was a gold mine. As long as they dug out the information, they would be able to earn 10 times the profit. Of course, the prerequisite was that they were fast enough and they had to be ahead of everyone else. Only a fool would sell notes. Chapter 147. While they were teaching in the training hall, Chu Tian and Nan Gongyun were discussing their future plans. Qilin Hall's current income is not bad, but there is a limit to how much we can develop. Our most important task is to pave the way for miracle commerce. Miracle commerce is our foundation, so we can't be tempted by the benefits in front of us and put the cart before the horse. I've already contacted Jing Hao, and he has already gathered all the resources. The first magnetic sound tower has already been secretly built, and they are currently working on the second and third magnetic sound towers. Tong Xiaoyu has already designed the radio and is currently in production at the Tianshan Chamber of Commerce's factory. People really couldn't be compared to each other. I haven't accomplished anything in the main city, and Boss has done so many things as soon as he arrived. All kinds of arrangements and preparations. They seemed casual, but they were all very precise and ingenious. They had already been prepared for miracle commerce without anyone knowing. Chu Tian continued to say, "The phonograph has been stockpiled and miracle commerce has been officially launched. They will immediately be released to the market." "How many of these phonographs have been made?" Nan Gongyun was very interested. "No matter what, I have to buy at least 8-10 of them. This thing is just too easy to use." The phonograph was a very perfect storage medium. It would be widely used in every aspect of life in the future, especially music and art. It would have an unimaginable effect on them. Chu Tian nodded. The training hall had already finished. A Qilin Hall member came in. "Elder sister, there's someone outside asking to see you." "I'm busy," Nan Gongyun impatiently said. "I won't see him. Tell him to scram." But this Qilin Hall member hesitated. Her attitude is very firm. It seems like she wants to see you no matter what. Nan Gongyun was about to explode in anger. "Don't be anxious." Chu Tian waved his hand and said to that person, "Go find Yin Xiao and have him see what's going on." Yes. He quickly left to find Yun Xiao. This was a woman wearing a black veil that covered her face. Although her appearance could not be seen from her temperament and figure, this woman was of the highest quality. Yun Xiao was not interested in other things, but women, especially beautiful women. He had no immunity to them at all. When Yun Xiao saw her, his eyes lit up and he eagerly asked, "Hey, beauty, is there anything I can help you with? Let me introduce myself first. My name is Yun Xiao. That's right, I'm known as the Mad Demon of Challenge, the cultivation technique master, the genius that once defeated 20 experts of the Vermilion Bird ranking in a single day. How is it? Do you worship me?" The black-veiled woman was naturally Qinbingyu. She had completely forgotten her original intention of coming here. The charm of Qilin Hall was too strong. They couldn't be blamed for skipping classes. Even Chun Bingyu herself couldn't resist the temptation here. She had already asked around and found that this was high-level content that outsiders could not listen to. The only way was to join Qilin Hall. "I want to join the dojo." Yin Xiao frowned. This is not easy. Chun Bingyu was a little dissatisfied. "Is there a problem?" "Babe, I can help you with anything else, but this is the only thing that I'm afraid won't be easy." Yin Xiao shook his head and said, "Our Qilin Hall's first batch of members has been filled, so we will stop recruiting now. If a beauty wants to join us, you can only wait for the next batch." How could this be? Chun Bingyu was already prepared to join Qilin Hall. This Qilin Hall did not give her any face at all, which made Chun Bingyu feel very dissatisfied. Since the rules are made by people, there must be a way to change them. One more person or one less person, it doesn't matter. I'll pay 10 times the membership fee. How about it? "Babe, this isn't right. A person needs to have principles." Yin Xiao pretended to be righteous and then added, "Although the rules are made by people, the person who made them is not a normal person, so I don't dare break them. So I'm sorry, babe. Please leave." That person? Who was that person? Chun Bingyu thought of something, and her body suddenly trembled as she said, "The person you're talking about. Is he the person who recorded the disc?" Yin Xiao did not hide it. "It's him." Chun Bingyu felt like she had been struck by lightning. At this moment, she found it hard to describe her feelings. Excitement, ecstasy, and nervousness. She never would have thought that the person who recorded the class would actually be in Qilin Hall. Then she had to join Qilin Hall even more. No matter what price she had to pay, she wouldn't hesitate. Chun Bingyu anxiously said, "Call Nan Gongyan out. I want to see her." Elder sister is discussing matters with that person, and elder sister is famous for her personality. Running over to disturb him. "Aren't you just asking for a beating?" Yin Xiao was a little unhappy. "I say, although you're a babe, you can't be this willful." That person was currently in Qilin Hall. That tall chest began to heave up and down, and Chun Bingyu couldn't help trembling. She suddenly felt that even the air had become heavy. Yin Xiao's heart couldn't help skipping a beat. Was there something wrong with this girl? "Then why don't you wait and I'll go try." "No, don't disturb him. I can wait for them to finish." Chun Bingyu was afraid that she would disturb that expert. If she left a bad impression on the other side, that would not be good. What was going on? This truly was a strange person. This girl was a little crazy, so Yin Xiao did not think too much about it. "Since it's like this, then we'll wait here first." Chun Bingyu did not have any complaints. This was because to be able to grasp such profound knowledge and techniques, the other side was definitely a rare great scholar in southern Xia. Even the famous great scholar Gu Qianxiu had been visited by Chun Bingyu before. Although Gu Qianxiu was very knowledgeable, it was not enough for her to worship him. The person who recorded the disc was the only person that Chun Bingyu had worshipped since she was young. What kind of person was he? From the announced curriculum of the training hall, it covered all kinds of cultivation techniques, martial arts, and etc. It could be said that there was nothing that this person didn't know. This kind of all-round scholar, without a strong innate talent and several decades of painstaking study, it was impossible. So, the other side was most likely like Yin Tianhe, an old man that was close to 100 years old. While Chun Bingyu was filled with worship, she also felt a strong sense of admiration. This kind of advanced knowledge, it was not something that could be completed in a short period of time. This person had probably spent his entire life researching, and he had taken it out for the public to study, allowing the Chelan Hall students to use his knowledge to write papers that would be published in various academies. He would allow them to use his knowledge to improve cultivation techniques and recipes, allowing them to benefit from it. Too noble, too selfless. Chun Bingyu did not care about fame and fortune, but she knew that she could not do this. Dusk gradually fell, and the people in Chelan Hall began to decrease. The students gradually dispersed, but Chun Bingyu was still standing in front of Chelan Hall, just like a statue that would not move. Chu Tian was sitting in the training hall, feeling a little anxious at this moment. Most of the people in Chelan Hall had left. Why weren't they coming yet? While Chu Tian was feeling depressed, Yin Yao came in through the side door. She looked at Chu Tian with an anxious gaze. "She's here." Chu Tian quickly asked Yin Xiao, "What about the person I told you to go see?" "Oh, you're talking about that strange woman?" Yin Xiao revealed a helpless look. "She waited an entire afternoon, and I refused to leave no matter what. I can't do anything to her." Since she waited an entire afternoon, that means her attitude is not bad. Nangong, go and see her. If her request is too excessive, just agree to her. Do you understand? All right, we'll stop here for today. I'll go to the Jing family's magnetic sound tower to see the latest situation. Chu Tian walked to Yin Yao's side and asked, "How is it?" Yin Yao replied, "She's already here. You should quickly leave, otherwise it will be dangerous." Chu Tian revealed a faint smile. "Not bad. Not bad. The timing is not bad. Let's quickly leave this place." When Yin Yao escorted Chu Tian out, Yin Xiao brought Nangong Yun out of Chelan Hall. When she saw Chun Bingyu, Nangong Yun's eyes popped out. "Aunt Chun, why is it you?" Yin Xiao looked at Nangong Yun and then at the black-veiled woman. This girl really knew elder sister, but it was very strange. This girl did not look that old, so why did elder sister call her this? "When did you come?" Nangong Yun came forward with an apologetic look. "Just tell me directly." Chun Bingyu nervously looked around. "Where's the senior that recorded the disc? Isn't he with you?" "Senior? What senior?" Nangong Yun immediately realized who she was talking about. She rolled her eyes and said with a grin, "He already left." "What? He left?" Chun Bingyu felt very depressed, but she quickly became spirited again. "Yinner, I have something I want to discuss with you." "Say it." Nangong Yun proudly patted her chest. "Aunt Chin's matter is Nangong Yun's matter. I want to enter Chelan Hall." Nangong Yun almost jumped up. Other people did not know Chun Bingyu's identity, but how could she not know? Chun Bingyu was Shun Fengho's friend and had been recommended by Shun Fengho to become the Central State Academy's vice principal. Her position was around the same as Yun Tianhe's, but Chun Bingyu was very low-key and rarely showed her face, so most students did not recognize her. Chun Bingyu had been a consecrator of the Nangong family in her early years, so she had quite a bit of relationship with the Nangong family. She was very strong, and out of all the experts in Central State City, perhaps only Shun Fengho could defeat her. This kind of powerful person, she actually wanted to join Chelan Hall. Nangong Yun was shocked, and her heart suddenly trembled. She looked very careless on the surface, but she was actually very careful and had a sense of propriety. She was well aware of Chun Bingyu's abilities. If this person joined Chelan Hall, it would be hard to avoid being connected to miracle commerce. If Chun Bingyu and miracle commerce were tied together, then miracle commerce's influence in Central State would increase greatly. Wasn't Chu Tian always laying the foundation for miracle commerce to move to Central State? He had already won over the Central State Yin family. If he added in Chun Bingyu's support, then the situation would be completely different. Although Chelan Hall is full, Aunt Chun is not an outsider, so I think I can make an exception. You can be assured I'll talk to the leader. He will definitely let you in. Moreover, I'll directly raise you to a high-level member, giving you the qualifications to listen to the high-level classes. Really? This was truly great. Chun Bingyu's heart finally calmed down. Chun Bingyu's face was filled with excitement as she said, "All right, I'll have to trouble you with this matter. I'll definitely thank you in the future." "Hi, what are we talking about?" Nangong Yin pulled Chun Bingyu and said, "Let's take a look inside first." All right. Chun Bingyu's heart was filled with joy. Nangong Yun's confident appearance meant that her position in Qilin Hall was not low, so entering Qilin Hall was already in the bag. This was great. She had to listen to the entire class. Ever since she had attended Qilin Hall's class, her heart had been itching like a cat. She did not want to wait another day. She first went in with Nangong Yin to take a look. Chun Bingyu was also very interested in the phonograph and the magnetic sound discs. When the two of them were about to enter Qilin Hall, suddenly, Chun Bingyu's expression changed. This is bad. There are spirit energy fluctuations. Before Nangong Yin could react, there was a large explosion and Qilin Hall was covered in flames. There were several explosions that created a strong shock wave from the center of the hall. The hall was not that big, so how could it withstand several explosions? It was blown to pieces on the spot, and it completely collapsed. "Damn," Nangong Yin angrily said. "Which bastard did this?" Zhao Kuan, Wang Ming, and the other Qilin Hall elders were running away with ashen faces. Each of them had injuries on their bodies. This is bad. Someone launched a sneak attack. Not only did they steal the phonograph and all the discs, they even destroyed the hall. Nangong Yin flew into a rage. "Bastards!" 3-4 figures charged out of the hall and ran in different directions. "Stop them!" Nangong Yin anxiously shouted. These fellows had not only destroyed the hall, they had also stolen the phonograph and the discs. These were the core secrets of the hall and miracle commerce. These sneak attackers all had high cultivations. Each of them had reached the triple awakened soul realm. If they wanted to escape, even Nangong Yin would not be able to stop them. At this moment, a terrifying cold wave filled with an earth-shattering rage was suddenly released. It filled the entire world as if winter had suddenly arrived, making everyone feel a chill. That monstrous, raging, killing intent swept out like a volcanic eruption. Chapter 148. Chun Bingyu's heart was filled with excitement. She thought that after joining Qilin Hall, she would be able to learn the knowledge she yearned for. She could not wait another day. However, it had to be at this time. Qilin Hall had been destroyed by someone, destroyed Qilin Hall's equipment, and stolen from Qilin Hall. How could she not be angry? How could she not be angry? Chun Bingyu's nickname was the Ice Queen. Even the headmaster was a bit afraid of her, because Chun Bingyu had an eccentric personality. Her methods were cold and ruthless, and adding in her high cultivation base, she did not fear anyone in Central State City. Although she did not belong to any power, no one dared to offend her. This time, the three great families had hit the tip of the spear. A cold spirit energy was released along with a heaven-piercing, killing intent. It was enough to freeze the earth, freeze living beings, and freeze souls. This was a storm that came from a distant cold land. It came so suddenly and so abruptly that no one was prepared for it. It instantly swept through several miles of space. The moisture in the air froze and turned into countless ice flowers that danced in the sky. With Chun Bingyu as the center, the cold wave spread out at a speed visible to the naked eye. It spread out in all directions, and the ground was covered in ice. The already ruined training hall and flames were instantly extinguished. At the same time, it was covered in a layer of ice. In an instant, a cold winter descended upon the earth. Several mass people were covered in a layer of white frost, and it was hard for them to even move. What? The strength she is! When the cold wave arrived, facing this incomparably strong strength, they did not have the slightest ability to resist. The two sides were not on the same level. They only had one thought: escape. But they had angered Chun Bingyu. Could they still escape? Chun Bingyu was covered in white spirit energy as she flew into the air. The invisible spirit energy surrounded her body and gradually condensed into octagonal snowflakes. This was a source spirit? A snowflake source spirit? The snowflakes were not created by cultivation technique, but rather by Chun Bingyu's source spirit. There were all kinds of source spirits that appeared in southern Xia, but a snowflake source spirit had never been heard of before. This was because the appearance of a source spirit reflected the lethality of the source spirit. The tiger source spirit's lethality was definitely stronger than the wildcat source spirit, and the wolf source spirit's lethality was definitely stronger than the wolf dog source spirit. The more dangerous the source spirit was, the stronger the source spirit was. Snowflakes gave people a feeling of being light, as if they were harmless things, so, as a cultivator with an essence soul, how strong could they be? Now, the power that Chun Bingyu displayed had completely subverted everyone's understanding. The sparkling and translucent octagonal snowflakes were crystal clear, flawless, and as beautiful as a work of art. From few to many, from sparse to dense. Finally, millions of snowflakes gathered together, forming a long ice dragon that circled around Chun Bingyu. Snow and snow cover the sun. Chun Bingyu waved her hands. Millions of snowflakes erupted like a storm. Every snowflake shot out at a speed that was hard to discern with the naked eye. These snowflakes turned into sharp and deadly darts that instantly covered the massed people. There were too many of them, too fast and too dense. There was no way for them to dodge it all. The snowflakes tore through their protective spirit energy, and a terrifying strength entered their bodies, filling their organs and seeping into their limbs. Each large snowflake was made of millions of smaller snowflakes, so when they entered their bodies, the snowflakes scattered and continued to wildly pass through their meridians, making them feel as if they were being cut by 10,000 blades. Stop! Several cultivators did not even have time to cry out before they were brutally killed on the spot. The last one was still running for his life. His cultivation was close to the fourth awakened soul layer, so he could resist for a long time. But his body was sealed in ice, and he was already heavily injured. He begged for mercy. Vice Principal Chun, please spare me. I am a consecrated member of the Chu family. You can't kill me. Chu family? Even if you are a royal, you will still die. Chun Bingyu turned a deaf ear to his cries. The terrifying ice and snow energy entered his body and instantly froze his organs. The masked man was completely frozen from the inside out. He had turned into an ice sculpture. Break! Chun Yinyu waved her hands. The ice sculpture shattered into pieces, turning into countless shards that rained down. This kind of death could not be saved even by an immortal. Such a terrifying strength. The awakened soul realm was divided into 3 stages: void soul, illustrious soul, and true soul. Although they were all in the awakened soul realm, there was a very clear difference. An awakened soul realm void soul cultivator could only add in the power of their source spirit, but their source spirit itself did not have a strong killing power. An awakened soul realm illustrious soul cultivator was a step further than the former. They could release their aura, so before an illustrious soul cultivator made a move, they could use their aura to deter their opponents. A late awakened soul realm true soul cultivator was different. Their source spirit already had a terrifying strength. It could even kill experts of the same realm. This woman did not use any cultivation technique. She just used her source spirit to release a powerful strength. Her strength had definitely reached the late awakened soul realm, the true soul realm, and it was not low. The peak experts of the true soul realm could be counted on one hand in Central State. Before the consecrated member of the Chu family died, he called her Vice Principal Chun. Then her identity was on the verge of being revealed. Central State Academy's vice principal, a famous expert, the Ice Queen, Chun Bingyu. What kind of person was Chun Bingyu? Even the mayor had to give her face, and Shun Fengho treated her as a friend. Those unlucky fellows that died in her hands were doomed to die in vain. The 3 great families would not risk their lives against Chun Bingyu for 1 or 2 elders and consecrated members. Even if the 3 great families used their power to fight against Chun Bingyu, they would still have to pay a heavy price. This was not rational. This matter was very strange, no matter how she looked at it. Nangang Yin thought of Chu Tian's strange actions today. She was not a fool. She had already guessed that this was Chu Tian's plan. He had used a borrowed knife to kill them. Chun Bingyu had been completely used by him. Otherwise, even if they had a way to kill these people, the three great families would not give up and would even have an even stronger reaction. Borrowing Chun Bingyu's hand to kill them, the result would be completely different. If the three great families wanted to counterattack, they would have to think it over. Anyways, they would have to suffer this loss. This fellow was truly as sly as a fox. Aunt Chun, why did you kill them all? Nan Gong-yun exaggeratedly said. They seem to be people from the three great families. Killing them will cause a lot of trouble. Chun Bingyu gave a cold snort and said, I'm not afraid of the three great families. They were killed by me, so as long as I'm here, they won't dare do anything to you. Let's go and see if there are any losses. The Qilin Hall had been completely destroyed. This is bad. The phonograph and discs have all been destroyed. Several dozen discs were brought back from the corpses. These discs were covered in a thick layer of ice, and most of them had been shattered by the spirit energy snowflakes. Destroyed. Completely destroyed. Nan Gong-yin wanted to cry, but had no tears. This Qilin Hall can only announce its closure. Everyone revealed a look of disbelief. What was happening? The Qilin Hall hadn't even been open for 10 days, and it was actually going to close. How could this be? Although the Qilin Hall had only been open for a short period of time, everyone could not leave this place. Don't. The Qilin Hall can't be closed. Isn't it just a broken house? At worst, we can just raise money to rebuild it. That's right. I'm willing to give 100,000. I'll give 200,000. Everyone rushed to raise money. As long as the Qilin Hall didn't close, they were willing to give a bit more money. After all, the Qilin Hall was just too important to them. In just a few short days, they felt like they had been reborn. What if they cultivated in the Qilin Hall for a month, half a year, or even longer? We can't close it. The most anxious person here was not the normal students, but rather Chun Bingyu. Chun Bingyu was a late-stage, awakened soul realm expert. Her strength could be considered a first-rate expert in southern Xia. She was respected by tens of thousands of people and had power and wealth at her fingertips. But to Chun Bingyu, these were just worldly possessions that had no use at all. Chun Bingyu was well aware of the bottleneck she was facing. Studying in the Qilin Hall was her only chance. If she missed it, there would be no more. Nan Gong-yun's eyes turned. If the phonograph is destroyed, we can rebuild it. If the magnetic sound disc is destroyed, we can record it again. Of course, if the house collapses, we can repair it again. But now that the three great families want to make a move against us, I'm afraid. Chun Bingyu directly said, I am willing to personally oversee the Qilin Hall. As long as I am here, they will not dare act rashly here. Good. Nan Gong-yun's heart was filled with joy, and a trace of craftiness flashed in her eyes. With Aunt Chin's support, how could the Qilin Hall not open? How about this? I'll go back and discuss it with the boss. We'll buy a new place and equipment, and we'll open the training hall in 10 days. Everyone was filled with joy. As long as the Qilin Hall didn't close, it was good. Nan Gong-yun waved her hand. Everyone can go back. As compensation for the temporary closing of the training hall, we will be selling phonographs in the near future to make it more convenient for everyone to study. The phonographs were going to be sold. This was truly great. Everyone revealed looks of pleasant surprise as they left in satisfaction. That night, Nan Gong-yun excitedly raised her cup to congratulate Chu Tian. Your foresight is like that of a god. Not only will it solve the problem of the Qilin Hall, it will also create a strong enemy for the three great families, and it will also give Miracle Commerce a strong backer. This is truly killing two birds with one stone. Actually, this plan was quite risky. Although Chu Tian had set up a trap, if Chun Bingyu had made a move without any explanation, then the plan would not have been able to proceed. Chun Bingyu and Nan Gong-yun's relationship was something that Chu Tian did not know before, so Chun Bingyu did not destroy the training hall as soon as she arrived. This gave Chu Tian a chance to win her over. Chu Tian revealed a faint smile. But speaking of this Chun Bingyu is your elder and has a deep relationship with your family. Using her as a spear, don't you feel guilty? Guilty my ass. This was all done by you, so don't even think of putting it on me in the future. Nangonyan drank the wine jug in one gulp. Moreover, are you using Ani-chun as a spear? This is giving her a clear path and using this chance to let her join Miracle Commerce. I think that in a few years, she won't even have the time to thank us. Otherwise, if we don't use her, how could we have such a good chance? Isn't that right? It's good that you can think like this. As for the reopening of the Qilin Hall, how are your preparations? This place makes too much money and we'll lose several million if we're late by a day. There's no rush for now. I'm currently discussing with the Yun family, and they'll give us the new headquarters of the Yun sect. In the Yun sect's headquarters, there are laboratories, training fields, and all kinds of equipment. Our Qilin Hall does not just need to teach, we also need to create a comprehensive training base. Cooperating with the Yun sect is a win-win situation. Nangong Yun's eyes lit up. This was a very good thing. The new Qilin Hall would be built in the Yun sect, and they would have the Yun sect's mature research resources, increasing their safety. Even if the three great families were itching with hatred, wouldn't they still be a bit afraid of the Yun family's influence? After all, the Yun family was as famous as the three of them. If the Yun sect and Qilin Hall cooperated, they would naturally benefit from it. It would allow the Yun sect's influence to grow, which was a win-win situation. Calculating the time, the young miss should be in the main city soon, and the arrangements here should be done. It's about time to open up Central State. After not seeing them for so many days, I've missed them quite a bit. I wonder how they've been recently. Nangong Yun gave a soft snort and was actually a bit unhappy. It's only been a few days. When I came to Central State by myself, I didn't see you miss me at all. Nangong Yun actually said this kind of thing. Chu Tian was also a bit stunned. Do you still need to miss me? With this kind of personality and strength, who can move against you? Chu Tian said against his heart. Who said that? Of course I miss you. I think of you 3-5 times every day before I go to sleep. Woo, so nauseating. Nangong Yun's face turned red for the first time, and she quickly changed the topic. Even if elder sister Qingwu and little sister Ying have left, it will still take several days for them to arrive. The Central State trials are about to begin, and only a small portion of outsiders are allowed to participate. I see that you have nothing better to do, so why don't you go test your skills? Chu Tian had already heard about this matter from Yun Yao and Yun Xiao. I have this kind of garlic. Chu Tian slowly stood up. No matter what, the Chu Luo and Yi families have destroyed my training hall, so I have to personally take revenge. Moreover, the young miss is coming, so I have to give her a proper welcome ceremony. Nangong Yun said with an arrogant expression, You can't beat me right now, so let me do this. I can't beat you? You don't believe me? Just wait and see. I'll see you on the stage. What Nangong Yun said was the truth. Chu Tian was at the peak first awakened soul layer, and Nangong Yun was at the peak second awakened soul layer. Their defensive cultivation technique was the starlight immortal body, and their cultivation speed was about the same. The difference between the second awakened soul layer and the first awakened soul layer was like heaven and earth. So in terms of defensive power, Chu Tian lost by a large amount. Nangong Yun also had a god-level source spirit, so her battle strength was very abnormal. She had the ability to jump levels to fight. Looking at it like this, Chu Tian did not have a high chance of beating her. However, he was being provoked so blatantly. How could Chu Tian endure this? If he didn't teach her a lesson, she wouldn't know who was boss. He gave the money to Yun Yao that night and had her by the source stone. Chu Tian did not want Yun Yao to run errands, but that thing was too expensive. If a nameless rogue cultivator were to spend a large amount of money to buy it, it would inevitably attract attention. So it was best to have Yun Yao do it. He had earned quite a bit of money in this period of time, but after spending several tens of millions on the source stone and paying the Tianjin Chamber of Commerce's construction fees, he only had a few gold coins left. Money was just a worldly possession. It was a tool to reach a goal and a necessary tool. As long as he could get a return after spending it, it was fine. Chapter 149. The Central State 4 Academies tournament had begun. In this era where entertainment methods were lacking, this kind of pinnacle competition, where powerhouses collided, shocking and exciting, and where dark horses often made a comeback, was enough to make the commoners crazy and obsessed, turning it into a carnival and feast. The contestants for the great competition were normally from Central State Academy. The 4 academies would select 5 groups of the most elite teams, adding up to a total of 20 groups of over 100 people. They would go through the preliminaries, the ranking competition, and the challenge competition before choosing the top 6. This year, the headmaster suddenly decided to allow 2 groups of youths from Central State to compete against the geniuses and elites of Central State Academy. The entire Central State city was stirred. There were several hundred people that came to sign up. With the nature of this competition, injuries and deaths were common. It was just for the youths to show themselves and build a good reputation for their families, but it was not worth it for the large families to send out their best geniuses. It would also not make these rogue cultivators go crazy. Just like the South Sky City Summit competition, it looked like a normal competition on the surface, but it was actually related to the division of benefits. The Central State Great Competition was also like this, and it had to be explained from the history of Central State City. 350 years ago, this was a desolate area that had been abandoned for thousands of years. When it was discovered by Southern Sia, it quickly rose up and became the main city of Central State. Other than this superior location, the main reason was that there was a very prosperous ancient city here. Although the ancient city had disappeared, there were many secret areas left behind. The most famous one was an ancient trial tower that was now called the Central State Tower. There is no way to verify when the Central State Tower was built. This was because the scholars had found that the Central State Tower was even older than the ancient ruins. This also meant that the trial tower had already existed thousands of years before the ancient city was built. This trial tower was the reason for the ancient city's formation. The Central State Tower opened once every 5 years, and the participants could not be over 30 years old. The number of people that could participate in the trial could not exceed 10. The 4 great families could obtain 1 spot, and the rest would be decided by Central State Academy. The goal of the Central State Great Competition was to compete for the right to participate in the trial. The headmaster Feng Yunhu changing the rules was not in accordance with the rules, but adding 2 groups of people did not have a large impact on the competition. The large families expressed that they could accept it, and the citizens did not have any objections. The more people there were, the livelier it was, and there were more variables. Chu Tian did not have much interest in the Central State Tower's trial. However, he could use this chance to slap the faces of the 3 great families and at the same time announce to Central State City, "I, Chu Tian, have come." This was enough to form the motivation for Chu Tian to participate. However, when Chu Tian registered as an ordinary rogue cultivator, he encountered a problem. The participating teams had to be made up of 6 people. It was impossible for a single person to register. At this moment, hundreds of rogue cultivators and cultivators from small clans had gathered at the registration location, hoping to try their luck. There was a sea of people. It was very crowded. They were all young, awakened soul realm cultivators. There was no lack of people looking for a team. When did awakened soul cultivators become so worthless? These people weren't even 30 years old, so they could be said to be very young. Some of them were secretly groomed by sects and underground factions, while others were exceptionally talented wandering cultivators. Chu Tian searched for a while. There was a team that attracted his attention. They were all at the second awakened soul layer, and each of them had a fierce aura around them. It was clear that they were all experienced people. The leader was a one-eyed man that wasn't even 30 years old. He held a green dragon crescent blade and had a thick beard. He was very eye-catching in the crowd. Isn't that the green dragon blade Chi Ba? He is a famous person in the mercenary world. I never thought that even he would come to participate. This is going to be fun to watch. Everyone was discussing with each other. They were afraid of the person holding the green dragon blade. This person's strength was clearly very strong. This was the strongest team present. It was a coincidence that they were missing 1 person. Chu Tian had the idea of joining, so he went up to express his intentions. "First awakened soul layer? With just this bit of strength, you still want to join our team?" We are aiming for the top 10. Aren't you just holding us back with just this bit of strength? Take advantage of Father's anger. Quickly scram for me. Otherwise, I'll break your legs. This was the so-called reputation of a person. A first awakened soul layer cultivator that wasn't even 20 years old and didn't have any fame. Of course, these people would look down on him. They were looking down on him again. Why were there so many people in this world that look down on others? Chu Tian said, "If anyone thinks I'm not qualified, then we can have a competition. Brat, do you not understand human language? We said we don't want it." Chi Ba said in a firm voice, "Scram." The little fox unhappily called out to Chu Tian, telling Chu Tian to teach them a lesson. Actually, Chu Tian had this thought, but before he could make a move, a voice came from behind him. Chi Ba is so powerful. Chi Ba's expression instantly changed. "It's you two. What? You want to join in this mess?" Two energetic young men walked over. "Isn't this the Underworld Twin Heroes?" The Underworld Mercenary Group is a newly formed mercenary group, but they have already established quite a bit of fame in Central State City. These two are the founders of the Underworld Mercenary Group. Not only are they young, they also have great skills. Even the Yef family extended an olive branch to them, but it's a pity they rejected them. The two young mercenaries looked at Chu Tian without any objections. "Ah, it's you." The three of them were stunned at the same time. The two young mercenaries were not strangers. They were actually Lin Mu and Fong Han. Back in Yellowstone City, Chu Tian had saved their lives. Chu Tian's lips curled into a faint smile. "I haven't seen you in a long time. It seems like your strength has increased by quite a bit." The two of them gave an awkward smile. "Not at all. Not at all. It's all thanks to you." Chi Ba was speechless, and everyone stared at each other with wide eyes. These two young people were the rising stars of the Central State mercenary world, but they were actually this respectful in front of this nameless youth. Why was this? Chu Tian suddenly had a new idea. "You guys don't seem to have enough people. Why don't we form a team? What do you think?" Lin Mu and Fong Han were overjoyed. "This is really great. Chi Ba, you really are a fucking idiot. If this brat joins your team, the two of us would have no chance of winning. Isn't the situation the exact opposite?" Chi Ba's lips curled into a disdainful sneer. "Lin Mu, Fong Han, you two have been in the limelight recently. I have long been displeased with you guys. I want to use the competition as an opportunity to teach you a lesson." "Lesson? Then you'll have to have the ability to do so." "We'll see." There were 3 people in a team of 6. They were still missing 3 people. Who should they find? Lu Ren. Just as Chu Tian was in a dilemma, a very magnetic female voice came over. It was an extremely beautiful woman dressed in palace attire. She was tall and had a noble temperament. Her eyebrows were like a painting. Her beauty could topple a city, and she had a classical and gentle feeling of a noble lady, causing people to unconsciously have a breathtaking feeling. Really strange. Chu Tian did not remember ever coming in contact with this beautiful woman. "What? You don't recognize me?" This beautiful woman's voice was very magnetic, making Chu Tian feel a trace of familiarity. He suddenly thought of something and revealed a surprised expression. "You're Kai-Dai." Although her appearance was different from before, her temperament and voice were the same. This person was not someone else. It was the Kai-Dai he had met in the black market. "Because I'm outside, it's not convenient to show my face. I hope Brother Lu doesn't mind." Fong Kai-Dai revealed a faint smile. "I'm called Fong Kai-Dai." Chu Tian nodded and said, "I can't understand." "Brother Lu, I never thought I would meet you here." A young man walked up. Of course, Chu Tian knew this person. Wasn't this Xiang Hu, who had traveled with him before? At this moment, Xiang Hu's aura had become a lot stronger. It was clear he had gained a lot in this time. He had now become an awakened soul cultivator. Other than Fong Kai-Dai and Xiang Hu, there was also a youth here. This person was very young. He was around the same age as Chu Tian. He was around 16 to 17 years old. He had a head of long blue hair, wearing a gorgeous robe, and his face was filled with pride. When Lin Mu and Fong Han heard Fong Katie's name, they were both shocked. Wasn't she Shun Feng Ho's daughter? Fong Kai-Dai was very famous in Central State. The main reason was because of her innate clear meridian. The dignified Shun Fengho's only daughter was actually a cripple, not to mention Central State City. Even in southern Xia, this was a strange story. What was even more surprising was that Feng Yuntian still regarded his daughter as a pearl in his palm. The resources the Feng family invested in her, it was comparable to the four young masters. Because of this, the Feng family was not inferior to the four great families. They even had more power. The experts of the younger generation were only the Central State four young masters. There was no Feng family member. This made the Feng family fall into a very awkward situation. Xiang, who has already been accepted as my father's disciple, and this is my younger cousin, Feng Qingyan. The three of us are here to participate in the great competition, and I can see that you're here to participate as well. You have 3 people, and we have 3 people, so why don't we team up? The great competition required 6 people to form a team. Now, that Chu Tian had 3 people, and Feng Kaidai had also brought 3 people, wouldn't it be just right for the 6 of them to form a team? Chu Tian did not even have time to speak. The strength of these 2 mercenaries is not bad. They have the qualifications to join our team. Feng Qingyun gave a cold snort and looked at Chu Tian with disdain. As for you, too weak. Lead by yourself. Feng Kaidai couldn't help feeling a bit angry. I won't allow you to insult my friend. Insult? Did I insult him? I only spoke the truth. The weak should have the awareness of the weak. Even those dirty mercenaries don't want him to join us. What qualifications does he have to join us? If he doesn't have the strength, then why is he joining us? This kind of competition is not something he should come to. Feng Qingyun's face was filled with arrogance as he said to Chu Tian in a provocative manner, "You're not convinced? How about we have a fight?" Shut up. Feng Kaidai knew her cousin's personality and knew that this cousin was not simple. She quickly stood in front of Feng Qingyun. Did you forget what my father said? I'm the one leading the team today, so everything is up to me. If I say he can join, then he can join. Humph, I knew that you would bring up Shin Fengho again. You can only rely on your father for the rest of your life. Feng Qingyun crossed his arms and walked away with an unhappy expression. But since you've brought up Shin Fengho to suppress me, then you can do whatever you want. It's just another foil. Feng Kaidai stood there with an awkward expression. Chapter 150. Feng Qingyun had a cultivation technique to hide his aura. If Chu Tian did not open his mind's eye, he could not feel the other side's strength. But with this kind of arrogant attitude, not even giving Feng Kaidai any face, he should have some qualifications to be arrogant. Feng Qingyun and Feng Kaidai were members of the Feng family and not Central State Academy students. The reason they could participate in this competition was because of the family's rules. From this matter, it could be seen that the dean's rules were not changed for their own family. The Feng family must have placed high hopes on these 2 people. Feng Kaidai said with a helpless expression, "Qingyun is my second uncle's son. He has been studying abroad for the past few years and has come back to participate in this competition. He has never had any good impressions of me since he was young and even had many misunderstandings towards me. So when he saw that you have a good relationship with me, it was hard to avoid making things difficult for him. He was just a brat that was still wet behind the ears." Although his words were somewhat insulting, as long as it was not too excessive, out of respect for Feng Kaidai, Chu Tian would not care about it like a child. The 6 of them formed a group. Feng Kaidai became the leader of the group and signed up for the competition. Now that the competition was underway, the groups would fight against each other, and the group that won would fight in the next round. Only 2 groups would participate in the competition. There were over 10 participating groups, and they were all famous rogue cultivators and mercenaries in Central State City. The Central State Academy's decision to change the rules was too sudden, and the news had not yet spread to the various cities and towns. The outsiders could not come to Central State City to participate in the competition. Everyone began to draw lots to decide their opponents. Feng Katie's team against the Taurus team. The first opponent was a group of mercenaries and rogue cultivators. There were several small mercenary group leaders, so they should have some strength. Feng Kaidai was filled with confidence. "Let me go." Chu Tian could feel that Feng Katie's strength was above the second awakened soul layer. In terms of cultivation base, she was several levels higher than Chu Tian. Feng Kai-dai was Shun Feng Ho and Feng Yuntian's daughter, so the cultivation resources she had were not something rogue cultivators could compare to. Dang! The copper type was struck. The competition had officially begun. Kill. The 6 members of the Golden Bull team all awakened the power of their source spirits and charged out from different directions. All kinds of fierce attacks rained down like rain. Feng Kai-dai was calm and unhurried. Like an illusory butterfly, her delicate body turned into an afterimage as she continuously moved horizontally and flashed. Her speed was so fast that it was hard to see with the naked eye. The tourist mercenaries couldn't even touch the corner of her clothes. What a powerful movement technique! While the tourist team was shocked, they also had a bad feeling. Feng Katie's legs lightly leaped up like a graceful bird soaring into the sky. Green essence force blossomed out and lingered around her body. Creak! In an instant, a clear ringing sound rang out. A massive green bird rushed out of Feng Katie's body. This bird was incredibly majestic, and its body was covered with mysterious runes. A noble and extraordinary aura covered the entire area, and that intense pressure caused the tourist team's people to continuously retreat. Chu Tian narrowed his eyes. The Azure Phoenix of Wind? It really is a good source spirit. Blue Wan, a legendary creature. She has a source spirit close to the god level. The tourist team never would have thought that they would meet such a terrifying opponent in the first round. The 6 of them were only at the first awakened soul layer, and their source spirits were only at the mid to low level. Not to mention Feng Kai-dai was already at the peak second awakened soul layer, even if she was at the first awakened soul layer like them. With the increase in strength from the Blue Wand source spirit, she would be able to fight against the 6 of them. The tourist team was not willing to lose like this. Let's go all out. Feng Katie's hands came together, sweeping wind. The blue wand suddenly turned into countless strands of pure blue spirit energy. Under Feng Katie's control, the spirit energy began to spin at a high speed, forming a terrifying spirit energy storm. In the end, it turned into a huge green tornado and swept towards the 6 people. This is bad. Run. How could these people run faster than the wind? The tornado rushed over with overwhelming speed and power. Before the 6 of them could resist, they were swallowed by the tornado on the spot. They were lifted high into the air and completely lost their ability to resist. In the end, they were thrown out of the arena. Feng Kai-dai had a sense of propriety. Although she had defeated the 6 of them, she did not harm them at all. We're convinced. Young Miss Feng's strength is truly strong. The 6 of them were convinced of their loss. Although Feng Kai-dai was a peak second awakened soul layer cultivator, with the power of the Blue Wand source spirit, she could even fight a triple awakened soul cultivator. This Central State City waste young miss. When did she become this strong? The surrounding spectators all stared with wide eyes. Cultivation base, cultivation technique, and source spirit, they were all first class. Was this still Feng Kai-dai? It took the audience a long time to recover before they burst into applause and cheers. Good fight. Feng Kai-dai stood on the stage and looked around at the people cheering for her. The excitement and emotion in her heart could not be described with words. No one could understand the pressure Feng Kai-dai was under. She was the only daughter of Shun Feng Ho and Feng Yuntian. In order to raise Feng Kai-dai, the Feng family had spent a lot of resources. However, Feng Kai-dai had an innately blocked meridian and could not cultivate at all. Everything the Feng family did, not only did they not gain anything, they became the laughingstock of Central State City. Feng Kai-dai had grown up in this kind of ridicule. The reason she could hold her head high today was all because of the unknown youth behind her. It could be said that Chu Tian had given her a new lease on life. Feng Xingyun's eyes were filled with darkness. I never thought that this vase would have a day where she could turn things around. The second match began. On this side, it was still Feng Kai-dai who came out and easily won without any suspense. Feng Kai-dai had been cultivating all kinds of unique cultivation techniques of Shun Feng-ho since she was young. From defense to offense, from movement to strange techniques, there was nothing she didn't learn. When she was in the body refinement realm, these cultivation techniques could not be used at all. However, once she entered the awakened soul realm, the cultivation techniques she had cultivated for many years would naturally reach the realm of mastery. Because of this, Feng Katie's overall strength was very strong. Now that she had awakened the powerful blue wand soar spirit and obtained a strong amplification effect, even if she fought against someone with a triple awakened soul, she would still be able to fight. With Chu Tian's current strength, he did not have a 100% chance of winning against an opponent with a triple awakened soul. So with Feng Katie's current strength, she definitely had the qualifications to participate in the final battle of the Great Games. This was a seeded player with a lot of potential. Round after round, Feng Katie's various cultivation techniques appeared one after another, constantly shocking everyone present. As for the other members of Feng Katie's team, they did not even have a chance to make a move. Finally, the selections reached the final round. Now, among the remaining 4 groups, there would only be one more victory before the preliminaries would end. The 2 groups that won would be the ones to enter the official competition. Team Feng Kai-dai against Team Chi Ba. The crowd went into an uproar. Feng Katie's strength had already been displayed without a doubt. But Chi Ba's team was not a normal group. Not only were they all experts at the second awakened soul layer, they were all experts with profound cultivation techniques and battle experience. This was truly a strong battle that everyone was looking forward to. But Chi Ba's team had ugly expressions on their faces. This was because even if the 6 of them worked together, they did not have a high chance of winning against Feng Kai-dai. Not to mention that Feng Katie's team had Lin Mu and Feng Han, these 2 rising stars of the mercenary world. So their chances of winning this competition were very slim. Chi Ba said with a serious expression, "There is only one way for us to win. If they send out a single person again. If the 6 of US could defeat Feng Kai-dai, then the others won't be a threat at all. That's right. Let's do it like this." From the momentum that Feng Kai-dai had accumulated, she would most likely choose to fight alone. If the 6 of them worked together to deal with her, then they would have a chance of winning. When the 6 of them had thought of a strategy. "You've worked hard." Chu Tian pulled out the netherworld sword with a schwa sound. He walked past Feng Kai-dai and walked to the center of the stage. "This time it's my turn to exercise my muscles." Feng Qingyun gave a cold snort and said with a face filled with ridicule, "You're just a trivial first body refinement layer waste, yet you want to fight 6 second awakened soul layer cultivators. Are you prepared to disgrace yourself?" Feng Katie's eyes flashed with a trace of worry. "Lu Run, I know you're not weak. But they're all second awakened soul layer cultivators. I don't have any confidence in winning." "You." Feng Kai-dai knew that this Lu Run was very strong. In the 10,000 corpse ancient tomb, how many fierce characters had fallen to his hands? But that was in the ancient tomb, and he was affected by the restriction. Chu Tian was only a 9th body refinement layer cultivator at that time. How long had it been since then? Chu Tian had stepped into the awakened soul realm, but he should have just broken through. Without any restriction, he wanted to challenge 6 experienced second awakened soul layer cultivators. It wasn't that Feng Kai-dai didn't believe in his strength, but it was hard to imagine. Feng Qingyun coldly said, "I don't think you guys can do it. Let me do it." Chu Tian ignored Feng Qingyun and said to Feng Kai-dai, "Relax. It's fine." After saying this, he ignored Feng Qingyun's gloomy face and walked forward. Chi Ba's expression turned sluggish. "Why is it a waste like you?" Another person said with a smile, "This brat was rejected by our team, but he really has some dog shit luck." He held on to young Miss Feng Katie's thigh and actually made it to the last round. "I advise you not to ask for trouble. Quickly scram. Let young Miss Feng personally come." Another member of Chi Ba's team said, "Could it be that the mighty young Miss Feng is suddenly afraid, so she sent this waste to help you test the waters?" Chu Tian shook his head and said, "1/ per person." Chi Ba was stunned. "What did you say?" Chu Tian did not explain and slowly raised his sword. On the surface of the blade, there was a blue and white flame that ignited. There's something fishy about this brat. Go. Take care of him. Chi Ba's group of 6 prepared to make a move. Hong. The netherworld sword released a giant flame that instantly swallowed Chu Tian's body. When the flames around him dissipated, Chu Tian had already disappeared. Where did he go? Why did he disappear? The 6 of them did not even have time to be shocked. Shua. A burning sword glow slashed down with an unstoppable force. The weapon and armor of the person in front shattered, and his protective spirit energy was as weak as paper. The netherworld ghost flame covered his body, and he cried out in fear. He quickly rolled on the ground, trying to extinguish the flame. The netherworld flame was not a normal flame. How could it be easily extinguished? The more he struggled, the stronger the flame became. He only saw the sword glow. He could not see the person. This was the style of an assassination cultivation technique. Chi Ba never would have thought that this ordinary-looking youth would actually have this kind of cultivation technique. Assassination cultivation techniques were strange and unpredictable, so it was very hard to practice them. Normally speaking, assassination cultivation techniques were very strong, but they could not last long. However, what made Chi Ba's blood run cold was that after this youth sent out a slash, he did not reveal himself. Shua. Not even a second had passed. A burning sword glow appeared at the back of the team, and another member was hit. His weapon and armor shattered at the same time, and the netherworld flame ignited his protective spirit energy, instantly turning him into half a man on fire. Too fast. He did not even have time to think. Shwa 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 shwa. He could only hear several sharp sounds breaking through the air. Chi Ba could not even lock onto the youth's shadow. When a strong sword glows slashed down, the weapons in his hands were cut in half, and his armor was cut to pieces. Clearly, the youth was being merciful. If he really wanted to kill them, they would have died 10 times over. When the 6 of them were easily defeated, Chu Tian raised his long sword and calmly walked out. Do you still want to fight? We admit defeat. They never would have dreamed of this. This youth had such a strong strength. They were truly blind at that time. If they had recruited this kind of person into their team, even if they met Phone Katie's team, they would still have a large chance of winning. Regret, helplessness, shame. Chi Ba and the others wished they could find a hole to hide in. They felt a trace of respect for this seemingly ordinary youth. The 6 of them had humiliated him, but this youth did not take the chance to kill them. This kind of breadth of mind was not something normal people had. Thank you for being merciful. We are sincerely convinced. We apologize for our stupid actions. Chi Ba and the others gave a sigh and left the stage. How could they know that Chu Tian was disdainful of arguing with them? That would be too degrading. The battle had ended in less than 10 seconds, and the audience could not understand what had happened. Feng Kai-dai was secretly shocked in her heart. When Chu Tian was in the 9th body refinement layer, he could use his strong defense and source spirit to challenge a first awakened soul layer cultivator, but now his strength was even stronger than before. He had not used his full strength in this battle. Chu Tian's sword source spirit that was not inferior to a god-level sword spirit had not been used, and he had not used his strong defensive cultivation technique. So in this battle, he had not even used 50% of his strength. This unpredictable sword art, adding on the incomparably tyrannical defensive power, as well as the amplification from his source spirit, most third awakened soul layer cultivators would not be his opponent. He really was worthy of being him. He did not disappoint them. When Feng Qingyun saw the power Chu Tian had revealed, his brows slightly jumped up, but he quickly calmed down. So what if you have 2 skills? You won't be able to enter the finals with this kind of strength. Do you think that any random cat or dog can enter the Central State trial? He seemed to purposely speak loudly so that Chu Tian, who had just returned, could hear him. Chu Tian knit his brows. What grudges this fellow had with Feng Kai-dai, Chu Tian did not care. This was their family's matter, but no matter how deep their grudges were, there was still a perpetrator for every debt. What kind of skill was it to take it out on others? Chu Tian was giving Feng Kai-dai face, so he did not lower himself to his level. This repeated provocation, he was not putting father in his eyes at all. Chapter 151. Chu Tian still had a calm appearance on the surface, but a cold glow flashed in the depths of his eyes. Your Excellency is very confident in your own strength. I don't dare, but it's more than enough to take care of you. Feng Qingyan did not give him any face at all as he continued to provoke him. What? You're not convinced? I'll give you a chance to challenge me. How about I let you have 10 moves first? He was provoking him to this degree. Did Chu Tian still want to pretend to be a grandson? Feng Kai-dai saw that the situation was not right and quickly stood in between the two of them. Qingyan, that's enough. If you have any dissatisfaction, come at me. Why do you keep making things hard for my friend? How could I dare? You have a Shun Feng Ho as your father. Feng Qingyun said in a strange voice, and then looked over at Chu Tian, a piece of trash that relies on a woman to protect him. It's fine if I don't make a move. After saying this, he arrogantly walked past Chu Tian. Feng Kai-dai had an apologetic expression as she said to Chu Tian, Brother Liu, please don't mind him. Qingyan has been sent away by the family to cultivate for several years and has only recently returned to the Central State main city. It's said that he had quite a bit of harvest, so it's best if you don't directly clash with him. Chu Tian did not even give Chu Xinghe any face. What did this brat count for? But Chu Tian was very curious as he said, Why is your cousin's relationship not good at all? Feng Kai-dai revealed a helpless expression. I do feel guilty towards him. Oh, Chu Tian was a little interested. What's going on? You know that I had an innately terminated meridian, so there was no value in raising me. It's only because of my father that the family still threw the best resources on me, wasting countless precious resources for nothing. However, they didn't achieve the desired results. If it wasn't for me, these resources would have been used on Qingyan. With his talent, he would not be any worse than the 4 young masters. Because of these things, he's holding a grudge against you. I think it's more than that. Chu Tian gave a laugh. You no longer have an innately terminated meridian, so your talent might not lose to his. The spiritual energy in your body has allowed your growth to soar. He wasn't giving you a good look because he was jealous and fearful. This kind of person is too narrow-minded and won't achieve much. You don't have to feel guilty. It's not your fault. Feng Kai-dai blushed. This is all thanks to your care. Father wishes to meet you in private. Marquis Ye's elegance has already been seen. If there is a chance, I will see it again. Who is Feng Katie's father? The answer was already on the verge of being revealed. Feng Kai-dai was the daughter of Shun Feng Ho and Feng Yintian. Chu Tian had always wondered why Shun Feng Ho would help him out. At that time, even if Chu Tian had used Yi Tianlang to force Yi Wudao to retreat, South Sky City would not have been at peace. Feng Yintian suddenly appeared to resolve this matter, and even forbade the Ye family from setting foot in Tiannan City. This allowed Chu Tian to have a period of peace. This fellow was quite a character. He had to meet him when he had the chance. This fellow Feng Qingyun, if he knew that Feng Kai-dai was cured by him, he would hate him even more. He would want to skin Chu Tian alive. But then again, Feng Qingyun was not weak at all. At the very least, he was not weaker than Feng Kai-dai. Even after seeing the netherworld flickering flames' unfathomable speed and might, Feng Qingyun was still arrogant enough to give Chu Tian 10 moves. This meant that he was not simple at all. Even if Chu Tian was hiding his strength, he did not dare say that he could win against him. But he was still in the Void Soul realm, so how strong could he be? After the competition ended, 2 groups were chosen. One of the groups was naturally Chu Tian's group. The other group's strength was not bad. They were rogue cultivators in name, but they were actually retainers of large families or young geniuses of large families. Because they were young and talented, they were highly regarded by the large families and were not cultivating in Central State Academy. Didn't they say they would choose people that were not from Central State Academy? Whether it was their age or status, they all met the requirements. The competition would begin tomorrow. Chu Tian needed to make some preparations. After Chu Tian returned, he immediately went into closed-door cultivation. At this moment, in the center of the closed-door cultivation room, there was a giant stone. It was as black as ink and was made of volcanic glass. There was a jumping green flame sealed within it. Elemental Source Stone. Yin Yao had followed Chu Tian's request and secretly bought it here. When it came to the elemental source, the Netherworld sword couldn't help letting out a faint cry. The weapon spirit could feel the energy in the elemental source. It was very thirsty for power. Don't be anxious. I'll give it to you right now. A dark blue sword tip stabbed into the elemental source stone, and the sharp sword tip stabbed into the center of the dark flame. In an instant, the giant elemental source stone began to violently tremble. On the smooth, ice crystal blade, a large amount of dense runes appeared like a spider web. The Netherworld flame was not controlled by Chu Tian, and it automatically spat out, turning the blade into a burning flame. Pure, thick. An energy flowed into the Netherworld sword like a river, constantly nourishing the sword and allowing the Netherworld flame to grow. If this continued, the Netherworld flame's strength would increase by several times. What Chu Tian did not expect was that a pure spiritual energy entered his body through the sword hilt and spread through his meridians. This elemental source stone could have been left behind by a high-level elemental being, so the energy inside was very strong. When the dark and flame essences were absorbed by the Netherworld sword, a large amount of spiritual energy was left behind. This thing was useless to the sword, so it was sent to Chu Tian's body. The person raised the sword raised the person, and the person raised the sword. Chu Tian cultivated the sword art and increased the Netherworld sword strength. When the Netherworld sword became stronger, it would also feed back to Chu Tian, increasing his strength in all aspects. Even Chu Tian did not expect this. Because the spiritual energy inside the elemental source stone was in a solidified state, it was impossible to directly extract. However, the Netherworld sword had the ability to extract it. This is great. Chu Tian would not let go of such a good chance. He immediately sat down and held the sword with both hands. He opened his meridians and absorbed the spiritual energy into his body, refining it. The amount of spiritual energy was very large. It had completely surpassed Chu Tian's imagination. Chu Tian could feel the spirit energy in his body becoming larger and larger, finally reaching a critical point. He was just a step away. This kind of once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. How could Chu Tian let it go? Do it in one go. Break through his meridian. Countless strands of new spirit energy gathered in his dantian. Chu Tian's body released a strong glow, and an invisible wave of spirit energy was released. The entire room began to tremble, and the walls began to crack. What's going on? Such a strong aura. Yin Yao had been standing guard outside the entire time. When she felt the aura coming from the room, she immediately understood that Chu Tian was about to make a breakthrough. When Yin Yao and Chu Tian had first met, he was just a normal ninth body refinement layer cultivator. He had already reached the second awakened soul layer in such a short period of time. This kind of speed was too fast. What made Yin Yao's heart tremble was that when Chu Tian broke through to the second awakened soul layer, the pressure and aura was too strong. It was not something a void soul cultivator should have. His battle strength had increased along with his cultivation. Now in the void soul realm, it would be hard to find an opponent. After around half an hour, the room gradually calmed down. Chu Tian let out a long sigh and pulled out the sword from the Dawnstone. The originally jade-like Dawnstone had now become like a piece of broken stone, and the origin fire within it had also been completely extinguished. The Netherworld sword released an even colder aura. This sword had been sealed in the ancient tomb for countless years, and the weapon spirit had almost dried up. When Chu Tian used the new Netherworld flame to form a new weapon spirit, it was still very weak and could not display the true power of a soul-contracting weapon. This time, The weapon spirit had been fully nourished. Although it was still far from its peak, compared to before, the sword's power had increased by quite a bit. The most important thing was, Chu Tian's Netherworld Flame Sword had been greatly improved. From a small success realm, it had reached the mastery realm. In terms of power, it could not be compared to before. Yin Yao looked at him coming out. There aren't many people that can be your match in the great games. You have a chance of being the champion. Being the champion isn't enough. Chu Tian revealed a mysterious smile and swaggered out. Wasn't this brat's tone a bit too big? His tone was like the championship was already in his grasp. Although he was already in the second awakened soul layer, it was not guaranteed he would be the champion. There were many strong opponents in the Great Games. The next morning, the Central State Great Games had officially begun. The Great Games had attracted the attention of the large families in Central State, and the commoners were treating it as a grand event. The Great Games had not even begun, but the large gambling houses had already opened and the entire city was guessing who would be the champion. Chu Wufeng. Looking at the data from the large gambling houses, this person had the highest chance of winning. Chu Wufeng was Chu Xinghe's little brother and was only 5 years younger than Chu Xinghe. Other than Chu Xinghe, he was recognized by the Chu family as the most talented member of the Chu family's third generation. Chu Wufeng had just turned 21 years old and had occupied the Central State Academy Azure Dragon Courtyard for over 2 years. Of the 4 courtyards of Central State Academy, the Azure Dragon Courtyard was the strongest. Chu Wufeng could be considered the #1 person in Central State Academy. Some people said that Chu Wufeng's greatest regret was being born in the same generation as Chu Xinghe. This was a reasonable statement. The Chu family did not have a person like Chu Xinghe, so all the resources would be given to Chu Wufeng. He could completely carry the banner of the Chu family's third generation and be on the same level as the other 4 young masters. The heavens truly blessed the Chu family. It was fine if there was a dazzling and brilliant Chu Xinghe. Now there was a super genius Chu Wufeng. It really made the other 3 families envious. Of course, everyone deliberately ignored a single person. That miraculous youth in the distant South Sky City. He was also surnamed Chu. Perhaps it was because there were too many geniuses in this generation of the Chu family. It did not matter if there was one more or one less. Up until now, the Chu family had treated him as an abandoned child. Not only did they not have any thoughts of taking him back into the family, they even wanted to kill him. This caused Chu Tian and the Chu family to have a falling out, and now they were like fire and water. Other than Chu Wufeng, Yi Hin and Luo Jinshi, these 2 were also popular candidates for the championship. Yi Hin and Luo Jinshi were not much worse than Chu Wufeng. One was the White Tiger champion, and the other was the Black Tortoise champion. They were Chu Wufeng's greatest competitors in Central State Academy. The 3 of them often fought, and each had their own victories and defeats. Although Chu Wufeng was slightly stronger, he did not have complete confidence in winning. If there were no accidents, the champion would be one of the 3. However, this year's competition was not normal, because there were too many uncertain factors. It was said that the Central State Academy's Vermilion Bird Courtyard, which had been silent for many years, had a super genius that had just entered the academy for a month. This person had a source spirit, which was rare in Central State City. Just based on the strength of his source spirit, he was even stronger than the 4 young masters and could be considered to be in the god level. Other than that, the Yun family's young master that had been underestimated had suddenly erupted on the eve of the competition. As for how strong he was, it was hard to predict. Other than the Central State Academy, there were also 2 groups from outside the academy participating. One of the groups had Shun Fengho's daughter, Feng Kai-Dai Shining. She was definitely a dark horse level character that many people were looking forward to. There were experts like clouds in this competition. For the precious trial qualification, everyone would go all out, and it was hard to predict the final result. Chapter 152. The Central State League venue was filled with a sea of people. It was filled with people, showing just how prosperous Central State City was. The 6 platforms were built with waist-thick hardwood, and they were separated by more than 100 feet from each other. They were arranged somewhat like a six-pointed star formation, with each of the six corners being an arena, and the largest arena in the center. This was obviously the arena used for the final battle. There was a sea of people all around. There were several VIP areas for the various large families, but they were still empty. There was not a single family's training ground. There was a wooden sign in front of the Central State League, and it had the rules of the competition written in gold characters the size of a fist, as well as the positions of the participants. Chu Tian's group of six were on the 1st to 6th stage. Unless they could last until the final battle, they would not meet each other in the same group. Feng Qinyan looked at the rules on the wooden sign and gave a snort as he said, "I just hope your luck is good and you can last until the finals." Chu Tian did not care at all. "My luck has always been good." The crowd around them began to boil. "The Chu family is here. That's the Chu family's head Chu Xinghe and the heavenly sword young master Chu Xinghe." The Chu family's lineup was not big, but it was very beautiful. They were all dressed like Chu family swordsmen, and almost all of them were elders. Any one of them was a famous person in Central State City. Approximately 50 or so Chu clan elders, together with 100 or so Chu clan attendants, were currently escorting two gorgeous palanquins towards the high VIP viewing platform. Luo family, Ye family, and Yin family. The three great families are also here. Luo family's Luo Liansheng, Dragon Tiger young master Luo Xianglong. Ye family's Yi Wudao, Prince Tianlang Yi Tianlang. Yin family's Patriarch Yin Tianhe, and Purple Lightning young master Yin Yao. It really is worthy of being the Central State City's grand meeting. The legendary figures of Central State City are all here at once. The leaders of the four great families and the successors of the four great families were all here. Central State Great General Xiong Wuji has arrived. A dark-skinned general led hundreds of elite guards into the field. Everyone looked at them with awe. The Xiong clan was the #1 general clan in Central Continent. Its status was only below the Feng clan and the four great clans. Chu Tian's eyes lit up. It was actually him. This was the general that Chu Tian had met once in the Black Wind Stronghold. Chu Tian had a good impression of him. Although he already knew that this person's position was not low, he had never imagined that he would be the #1 person in the Central Plains military. Although his clan's influence was slightly inferior to the four great clans, in terms of individual strength, this General Xiong Wuji was probably not much inferior to the few patriarchs. The city lord has arrived. The president has arrived. At this moment, a series of drums sounded and a magnificent guard of honor entered the scene. A man wearing a blue city lord robe flew into the air and landed on the referee's seat. Beside the city lord was a middle-aged man dressed in Confucian robes. The two of them looked somewhat similar, so they were most likely brothers. Central State City Lord Feng Yunlong. Central State Academy's Principal Feng Yunhu. The two pillars of the Central State City Feng family. One was in charge of the city lord position, and the other was in charge of the Central State Academy. At this moment, the military, political for great clans, and other noble families had all arrived. The people at the top of the Central State Pyramid had all gathered here. It could be seen just how important this gathering was to Central State City. This competition was related to the Central State Trial spots. The Central State Trial was something that the youths of Central State dreamed of participating in. The Central State Tower Trial contained a large amount of wealth and treasures, including some precious ancient cultivator inheritances. Every time the trial opened, only 10 people were allowed to enter. The four great clans were the elders of Central State City, and each family only had one spot. 6 spots would be decided in the Central State League, and even the Feng family did not have an extra spot. After all, although the Feng family had a high status, they did not have many people, and they had only been stationed in Central State City for several years. Dong, dong, dong. The golden bell was equally famous. The audience became silent. Everyone knew in their hearts that this grand gathering was about to begin. At this time, wild winds began to blow in the sky, and a vast aura descended. A long laugh came from the clouds and echoed throughout the Central State League. This year's gathering is very lively. This marquee will also join in on the fun. When everyone heard this voice, They were all shocked. The citizens all knelt down on both knees. The normal generals, magistrates, nobles, and the small and medium-sized family heads all knelt down. The 4 great family heads and 4 young masters also had to stand up to show their respect. Greetings to Shun Feng Ho. Greetings to Shun Feng Ho. Shun Feng Ho and Feng Yuntian were wearing simple blue robes. They stepped through the air, moving 100 meters in an instant. They landed on the referee's seat and stood in front of their 2 little brothers. Everyone, no need for formalities. This marquis is only a spectator, so how the gathering is going to be carried out will be how it is. You don't need to be affected by me. Whether it was the citizens or the nobles, they all revealed looks of excitement. Shun Feng Ho did not have any position, but he was the protector of Central State and one of the 8 marquises of the southern summer country. Just the name Shun Feng Ho. His position was even higher than the city lords. The Feng family was a large family in Imperial City and had made great contributions in the war against the spirit beasts. When Feng Yuntian's family went to the battlefield to fight, only a few people came back alive. Feng Yuntian's military exploits were outstanding, and he was given the title of Shun Feng Ho. 12 years ago, he brought the rest of his family to Central State. In those fierce battles, the Feng family's true descendants had all died. Feng Yunhu and Feng Yunlong were Feng Yuntian's little brothers, but strictly speaking, they were from the other side. However, Feng Yuntian did not care about power. Not only did he support the 2 of them, he even wanted to give up the family head position and let their branch be the main branch. When Feng Yuntian's only daughter was found to have an innately terminated meridian, the Feng family knew it would be a waste, but they still threw in all kinds of treasures. This was the reason. It was because Feng Yuntian was the family head. He had contributed so much to the family, but he had given up all his power. How could the Feng family not treat his descendant well? At least the Feng family needed this banner. The Feng family controlled the entire Central State, but they did not have many people. However, with Shun Feng Ho's strength as the strongest in Central State, there were no known experts that could compare to him. Even in the entire southern summer country, there were only a few old monsters from the 3 great families that could suppress Shun Feng Ho. So it didn't matter if there were few people. Shun Feng Ho's reputation was enough to suppress everything. Greetings to elder brother. Please have a seat. Central State City Lord Feng Yunlong did not dare put on any airs in front of Shun Feng Ho. Feng Yuntian was not polite as he sat in the highest seat. Have we started? We'll start now. Feng Yunhu was the Central State Academy's principal, so he naturally had the responsibility of being the main referee. Let the competition begin. The golden bell was once again announced. The over 100 participants came to their respective arenas. Third arena, first round. Lu Run against Chu Ming. Chu Tian couldn't help being stunned for a few seconds. It couldn't be, right? What a coincidence. Not only was it his turn in the first round, his opponent was actually someone surnamed Chu. Chu Tian came out. Several large characters looked over. Yin Tianhut directly stood up. It's that brat. Chu Xinghe opened his eyes, and a pair of sword-like eyes swept over him. It's him. Feng Yintian, of course, also noticed Chu Tian. He looked over Chu Tian a few times. This appearance-changing technique is not bad. Even I can't see through it. It's no wonder he could fool so many people. Chu Ming was a retainer of the Chu family. The Chu family was a bit similar to the Yun family. If the Yun family was a family of scholars, then the Chu family was a family of martial artists. The Yin family wantonly recruited scholars from Central State, and the Chu family wantonly recruited talented people. The Chu family was stronger than the Yun family, so the Chu family could provide a better treatment. Of course, there was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. The Chu family's treatment was better, but their conditions were also very harsh. From the consecrator to the retainer, as long as they entered the Chu family, they could only change their surname to Chu. Chu Tungwen was like this. Chu Batian was like this. The young Chu Ming was also like this. Chu Ming was a very famous young genius, but because he had caught the eye of the Chu family, he was bought out by the Chu family at a high price. He could only serve the Chu family for 10 years, and the Chu family had given him a top-grade cultivation technique to train him. He had now become a member of the Chu family. Chu Ming did not enter the Central State Academy. Of the two groups that were selected from the selections, Chu Ming was in the other group. The Chu family members revealed a satisfied look when they saw this. An elder said, "Chu Ming's talent is rare even in the Chu family." "That's right." Another elder nodded. "He is only 20 years old and has already reached the second awakened soul layer, surpassing the normal elders and high-level deacons of the Chu family. The most terrifying thing is that his swordsmanship has reached perfection. There aren't many experts at the same level that can block Chu Ming's sword. Even you and I would find it hard to block." "Nonsense. Our Chu family swordsmanship is famous throughout the southern summer country. How many people can block it? This nameless rogue cultivator will lose for sure." The Chu family members were filled with confidence. Only Chu Xinghe slightly knit his brows, looking very serious. At this time, Chu Ming pulled out a curved sword and coldly stared at Chu Tian. "Admit your loss. I am a member of the Chu family. A trivial rogue cultivator going against the Chu family can only lead to death." Chu Tian did not even pull out his sword as he crossed his arms. "You dare say such childish words? Not to mention you are a slave of the Chu family. So what if you are a member of the Chu family? Stop wasting time and make your move." A slave of the Chu family? These words deeply hurt Chu Ming. "You're seeking death. I'll help you out." Chu Ming held the curved sword like he was skateboarding. His body did not move as he instantly charged in front of Chu Tian. The curved sword released a cold glow as it stabbed at his chest. Too fast. Chu Ming's body did not move, but it was like he teleported. A cold glow tore through the air with an extremely strong momentum. Chu Tian did not even blink as he watched the sword stab at him. Everyone cried out in surprise. Why isn't he dodging? When the sword glow was about to stab him, Chu Ming disappeared in a blur. Everyone was suddenly enlightened. Chu Ming cultivated an assassination cultivation technique. This overbearing attack was actually just an illusion, but it was very confusing, making it hard for people to distinguish the real from the fake. If Chu Tian made any movements to block or dodge, he would reveal a flaw that Chu Ming could grasp. The moment the afterimage disappeared, Chu Tian felt a cold light coming at the back of his neck. Hyperfocus. Chu Tian slightly swayed his body. The cold sword edge brushed past his skin, dodging by a hair's breadth. Chu Ming's expression changed. He suddenly stomped his feet. Once again, he disappeared in a blur. A sneer of ridicule hung on Chu Tian's face. Thick origin power condensed on his right hand, and two of his fingers gradually turned golden. Diamond vein-cutting finger. He stabbed at the air in front of him. Dang! Two golden fingers caught a blade that was stabbing at him. Pa! Chu Tian suddenly exerted force. The blade broke on the spot. The violent force lost control and immediately formed a strong explosion. A transparent figure was forced out of the air and staggered back a few steps. He was seen through. This was the illusory body sword art taught by the Chu family. How could it be seen through? Chu Ming stared at the broken sword in his hand. His face was filled with anger and coldness. How is this possible? I am a genius cultivated by the Chu family. I can't do anything to a rogue cultivator. I don't believe that I can't kill you. Chu Ming once again activated his spirit energy and was about to attack again. However, he suddenly felt a piercing pain in his chest. When he looked down, he saw a snow-white broken sword had pierced into his chest. Blood gushed out uncontrollably. No. Chu Ming clutched his chest in horror. He took a few steps forward and finally fell to the ground. This is the Chu family's sword art. Chu Tian walked to Chu Ming's limp body and kicked him off the stage like a ball. What a mess. What a shocking move. It undoubtedly caused a huge uproar. The Chu family sword art was a mess. This was like a slap on the face of those who were complacent. Moreover, the slap was so loud. The strongest swordsman family in Zhongzhou was almost the strongest swordsman family in southern Xia. He actually said that the Chu family's sword art was a mess. Wasn't this clearly smashing the reputation of the Chu family? Chu Shana's eyes were as cold as ice. This kid must die. Chapter 153. Chu Tian left the stage. Xiang was dejected as he walked over with a depressed look on his face. He had been eliminated in the first round. This fellow was a true rogue cultivator. He had been lucky enough to be accepted as an honorary disciple by Feng Yintian, but he was only an honorary disciple in name. With Shun Fengho's personality, how could he be in the mood to personally teach him? He would just give him a bunch of elixirs and a few cultivation techniques, letting him practice it himself. Normally, he would do odd jobs in the valley, being no different from a servant. The participants were all at the second or triple awakened soul layer. Xiang was brought in by Feng Kaidai to make up the numbers, so it was not strange for him to be eliminated in the first round. Chu Tian wanted to say a few words of comfort to Xiang, but before he could say anything, he suddenly heard a piece of news. That mercenary named Lin Mu seems to be in trouble. He's going against Luo Jinshi in the first round. Chu Tian knit his brows. Was this fellow really that unlucky? At this moment, Lin Mu was standing on the second stage. His opponent was a large man with a strong body. Although he was only in his 20s, he had a thick beard that made him look like he was in his 30s. The large man did not carry any weapons and was wearing ordinary clothes. His two thick arms were exposed, and there were red tattoos on them. He looked like a wild warrior from tribe. The Black Tortoise list's first ranked Luo Jinshi. Below the Central State Luo family's dragon tiger, young master Luo Xianglong. He was the most talented genius. Luo Qinshan's lion-like eyes stared at the mercenary Lin Mu in front of him. His eyes revealed a look of deep disdain. A dirty mercenary, you are not worthy of fighting me. I advise you to honestly do your job. The Central State trial is not something trash can enter. Scram. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Lin Mu's cultivation was at the peak second awakened soul layer. Luo Jinshi had already reached the triple awakened soul realm. Luo Jinshi was one of the Luo family's most important heirs, so the family must have given him a lot of resources. This kind of person could not be ordinary. Even if they were at the same cultivation level, ordinary cultivators would not be his opponent. Lin Mu said in a tone that was neither servile nor overbearing. The Ye family are also mercenaries. If you belittle mercenaries like this, aren't you pointing at the mulberry and scolding the locust? As soon as he said that, the faces of the Ye family members did not look too good either. Luo Jinshi's expression changed. Your mouth is quite sharp, but I hate people like you the most. Today, I'll cripple your mouth so you can never speak again. Lin Mu revealed a grave expression. I'd like to experience the Luo clan's ultimate technique. You're seeking death. As you wish. Luo Jinshi's eyes widened as he roared. His spirit energy blossomed and turned into a giant golden lion. This giant lion's body was extremely large, and its entire body looked like it was forged from gold. It gave off a powerful and imposing aura that could shock anyone. Luo Jinshi. He lived up to his name. The source spirit was a golden lion. This was a very high-level demon beast. It could hunt down mammoths and tear apart dragons. It had boundless might and was very strong. With the support of the golden lion source spirit, Luo Jinshi's strength and speed increased by several times. Combined with the Luo family's close combat cultivation technique, he could be called a human grinder. So strong, truly worthy of being the Black Tortoise first rank. Compared to the Dragon Tiger young master, this person was only slightly inferior. Lin Mu knew how strong his opponent was, but this young mercenary was full of vigor. No matter how strong Luo Jinshi was, he was not someone that the four young masters could not fight. Since he was standing on the stage, how could he not fight? Lin Mu raised his arms high up, and a willow tree began to wildly grow, instantly growing to several meters tall. A green jade light covered the surroundings, and several thousand willow branches fluttered in the wind, just like the wild hair of a demon god. Oh, a plant-type source spirit. The four great figures were all surprised. This kind of rare source spirit could be strong or weak. They didn't know how strong this mercenary was. Die! Luo Jinshi charged forward like a rampaging rhinoceros. Would rush thrust. Lin Mu slapped the ground with his palm. Luo Jinshi felt spirit energy coming from the ground and a giant tree being pulled from the ground. He immediately dodged to the left and right like lightning. With his fast movement speed and perception, Luo Jinshi easily dodged the attack from the ground. At this moment, Lin Mu's hands came together, and the countless willow branches were like the arms of a demon. They shot out like lightning and wrapped around Luo Jinshi's neck. Then they wrapped around his limbs, neck, waist, and other parts, keeping him in the air. Everyone was surprised. Lin Mu was using his source spirit to attack. The Void Soul Realm's source spirit was very weak and could only be used to support attacks. Lin Mu's source spirit was different. It could actually be used to attack. The Luo family's cultivation technique focused on close combat. In a normal situation, if one was thrown into the air, they would lose the ability to fight. Lin Mu loudly roared. A black aura was released, and his skin turned black. Everyone could see with a single glance that this was a very strong demonic art. Lin Mu shot forward. Several sharp willow branches followed him and attacked Luo Jinshi in the air at the same time. Pung, pung, pung. Those willow branches that were as sharp as spears were like rain that stabbed at Luo Jinshi's body. After experiencing a wild storm of attacks, Lin Mu's strength reached its peak. His right fist turned as black as ink as he punched at Luo Jinshi. Luo Jinshi's protective spirit energy had already been weakened. If it hit Luo Jinshi, this fist would be enough to heavily injure him. You only have this little bit of skill. Luo Jinshi's golden lion source spirit gave an angry roar, and a wave of spirit energy spread out, shattering the willow branches around him. Since you've seen the Luo family's cultivation technique, I'll let you see the might of my Luo family's lion-tiger duo. His right hand formed a claw that created a fierce claw wind. The claw wind gathered into the shape of a lion's head that bit through the willow tree. At the same time, it tore apart Lin Mu's demonic art and left a large wound on Lin Mu's body, as if he had been bitten by a lion. Die! Luo Jinshi sent out another punch. The spirit energy turned into a giant tiger that leapt out. Just like a tiger leaping over a mountain, it fell down on Lin Mu's body. It directly pressed Lin Mu into the ground, firmly pressing him into the ground. It dragged him from the center of the stage to the edge of the stage, leaving behind a deep dent. During this process, Lin Mu's bones began to crack, breaking at least 10 bones. The giant tiger formed from spirit energy roared and exploded. Lin Mu suffered another heavy injury. The armor on his body shattered, and he flew off the stage like a kite with its string cut. Luo Jinshi did not show any mercy at all. He was completely intent on killing him. He was just a young mercenary with no background and no strength. So what if he was killed? What was the big deal? Who would have thought that after Lin Mu fell to the ground, he would take the initiative to stand up and release his willow tree source spirit again? Moreover, during this process, his legs began to change. They were like tree roots that pierced through the ground, deeply digging into the soil. A green energy began to wash over his body. Ka 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 ka. His broken bones began to return to normal. In the blink of an eye, more than half of his heavy injuries had recovered. The source spirit willow tree quickly withered. It was clear that it had suffered heavy injuries, but it was still slowly recovering. Feng Yintian was a little surprised seeing this. This young man's source spirit's greatest use is to transfer injuries. The willow tree source spirit could absorb the injuries on Lin Mu's body. This was really rare. Yin Tianhe pondered for a few seconds before saying, I'm afraid it's not just that. His body has been partially elemental, so there should be a special bloodline in his body. His ancestors should be from the elves. This young man's potential is not small. Chu Tian could also see this. Lin Mu's bloodline was a little special. He could temporarily elemental his body. This should be an ability of the ancient races. He was a descendant of an ancient race. Although his bloodline had been diluted for a long time and was very thin, it still had a good potential. Lin Mu did not have this kind of ability in the Blackwind Stronghold. It was clear that he had gradually awakened after that battle. This brat really did have a bit of potential. No wonder he had such a high cultivation base at such a young age without any background. He was someone worth roping in and training. Although Lin Mu still had battle strength, he had been knocked off the stage. According to the rules of the Great Games, he had already been eliminated. Lin Mu was clear in his heart that there was still a large gap between his current strength and Luo Jinshi's. The first round of the competition quickly ended. In Chu Tian's group, Xiang Hu and Lin Mu were eliminated, and the others smoothly entered the next round. The second round began. Chu Tian met a top 5 ranked White Tiger ranking opponent who was only in the second Awakened Soul layer. He did not place this kind of person in his eyes at all. He did not even draw his sword and easily won. Fifth stage, Fang Han against Yi Hen. When Chu Tian heard this news, he couldn't help breaking out in cold sweat for his 2 mercenary brothers. It was fine if Lin Mu met the Black Tortoise ranking's first-ranked Luo Jinshi. Fang Han was not spared either. He had already met the White Tiger ranking's first-ranked Yi Hen. Yi Hen and Luo Jinshi were equally famous. In terms of strength, he was not inferior at all. Fang Han and Lin Mu were very similar. They both had a rare ice-attributed source spirit and cultivated a very strong demonic cultivation technique. Fang Han could even turn his body into ice for a short period of time. This was a characteristic of the ancient race's bloodline. Yi Hen's source spirit was even more extraordinary. From the start of the battle, he had summoned a transparent demon wolf source spirit, only revealing a pair of eyes. Those eyes were covered in gray ripples, and when they stared at the demon wolf source spirit, everyone felt their minds blur, as if they were being hypnotized. Illusory pupil demon wolf, a very dangerous demon beast. This kind of demon beast battle strength was not strong, but it could directly attack one's soul. It was strange and unpredictable, making it hard to defend against. Yi Hen was a rare, spiritual, attributed source spirit in the younger generation of Central State, which meant that he could use spiritual attacks. Invisible and formless, killing people without a trace. You couldn't directly look into his eyes. Fang Han knew how terrifying Yi Hen was. Compared to Yi Hen, he would rather fight Luo Jinshi. At least if he fought Luo Jinshi, he would be able to fight to his heart's content. But if he fought Lin Hen, his life and death would be decided in an instant. The ice giant's source spirit was released. Several blurry ice mirrors surrounded him. Fang Han used the mirrors to lock onto Lin Hen's figure. Since he couldn't directly look into Lin Hen's eyes, why not use the mirrors to capture his figure? Yi Hen's battle strength was not strong, but as long as he wasn't affected by the spiritual illusion technique, he could still fight. It had to be said, whether it was Lin Mu or Fang Han, both of them had a clear mind and were talented people in battle. However, both of them had made the same mistake. They had underestimated their opponents too much. Monster Wolf Transformation. Transform into my body. Yi Hen's demon wolf source spirit turned into a shadow that merged with Yi Hen's body. Man and wolf as one, spirit and body as one. This was the Yef family's inherited cultivation technique, Monster Wolf Transformation. This cultivation technique could only be used with a wolf source spirit. Back in South Sky City, Yi Tianlang had also used this move to merge with the wolf spirit. After Yi Hen used the Monster Wolf Transformation, his body gradually became transparent. Fang Han's ice mirrors could not find any traces of him. This made Fang Han's expression change. Several black claws came slashing down. The ice mirrors were all shattered. Yi Hen passed through the ice mirrors, and a pair of eyes filled with ripples stared at Fang Han. This is bad. The moment Fang Han met the other side's eyes, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Yi Hen took this chance to punch Fang Han, and the thick ice armor shattered. Fang Han had been heavily injured and had fainted after falling off the stage. Fang Han. Lin Mu quickly went over to support him. Chu Tian also came over and helped him take his pulse. His brows slightly knit as he said, "You don't need to worry about your physical injuries, but your mental injuries are not light." What happened? The moment Yi Hen looked at him, he fell into Yi Hen's illusion technique. It seems like a short moment to us, but in the illusion, it has already been over an hour. In other words, Yi Hen has been torturing Fong Han for over an hour in the illusion. If it wasn't for his firm consciousness, he would have become a madman even if he didn't die. So fierce. Yi Hen looked down at the stage, and his lips curled into a mocking smile. He turned around and left. Yi Hen, Luo Jinshi. One was a spiritual attack genius. The other was a close combat genius. Not only did the two of them have a triple awakened soul strength, their talent and cultivation techniques were also top-notch. They were very strong, and normal people could not resist them. Central State Academy had a Chu Wufeng. This person had not revealed his true strength yet, but it was said that he was stronger than the two of them. This match was filled with experts like clouds, and no one had the confidence to win. Chapter 154. Xiang Hu, Lin Mu, and Fong Han were all eliminated. Only Chu Tian, Feng Kai-dai, and Feng Qingyun were left. At this time, it was Chu Tian's turn to fight. Third stage, Yun Xiao against Lu Ren. What? Yun Xiao? Chu Tian was instantly speechless. Yun Xiao's eyes turned white, and he almost fainted from anger. Damn, even drinking water would get stuck between his teeth. Of all the people he could have met, he had to meet this young master. Yun Xiao did not even think as he raised his hand. I admit defeat. The surrounding audience went into an uproar. What was he doing? Yun Xiao was still one of the most popular people in the Great Games. He had just made a name for himself, and when he used the 3 Thunderblades, even the triple awakened soul might not be able to block it. The result was good. This fellow didn't even fight before admitting defeat. Bastard, you coward. I bet money that you could enter the ranking competition. Everyone was cursing at him. Yun Xiao gave a disdainful snort. What do you idiots know? Yun Tianhe shook his head when he saw this, and did not blame him. Yun Xiao followed Chu Tian off the stage. Boss, I didn't hesitate to face the 1,000-finger finger to help you hide my strength. My body and mind have been seriously injured, so you have to compensate me for my mental damage. You still have mental damage? Chu Tian gave a pay sound. Are you afraid of being scolded with this kind of face? How could you say this? I have my dignity too, okay? Yun Xiao did not even have time to speak before an eye-catching voice rang out. First stage, Feng Kai-dai against Nangong Yun. Feng Kai-dai against Nangong Yun? Yun Zhao's eyes lit up. Elder sisters match. We have to go see it. Boss, let's go. Feng Kai-dai and Nangong Yun. The two of them were shockingly similar. They were both in the peak second awakened soul layer and were both country-destroying beauties. Moreover, they were both around 19 years old, so this match was bound to attract the attention of countless people. Feng Kai-dai had been treated as trash by the people of Central State City for a long time, but not long ago, Feng Katie's block meridians had suddenly improved. Her cultivation had soared, and she had stepped into the second awakened soul layer. His father is Shun Fengho Feng Yuntian. Everyone in Central State City knew that Feng Yuntian treated his daughter like a treasure. Back then, even though he knew that Feng Kai-dai had terminated meridians, he still didn't hesitate to use large amounts of elixirs on her. He didn't even hesitate to harm his own cultivation to increase Feng Katie's cultivation. In terms of passing down cultivation methods, he was even more dedicated. After Feng Katie's physique was healed, she immediately awakened her blue lawn source spirit. She had been practicing all kinds of top-grade cultivation techniques for more than 10 years, so her strength had increased by leaps and bounds. In yesterday's qualifiers, she had shined brightly, sweeping away countless participants. Although she had not reached triple awakened soul, she had the ability to fight against Luo Jinshi and the other experts. Therefore, Feng Kai-dai was also a contestant with great potential. People didn't know much about Nangong Yun. They only knew that she was the top ranker of the Vermilion Bird Courtyard and was the strongest new student in the history of Central State Academy. She had once stood still and blocked Yun Zhao's Thunder 3 Blades. Just this strength alone was enough to make people unable to look down on her. The most eye-catching thing was, Nangong Yun's source spirit was the fire phoenix, which was worthy of being called a god-level source spirit. In terms of source spirit strength, Nangong Yun was stronger than anyone else in Central State City. She also came from one of the three great families of the kingdom, the Nangong family. The cultivation technique she practiced, burning the heaven art, was one of the strongest cultivation techniques in southern Xia. Because of this, no one dared to look down on Nangong Yun. This was a fight that people were looking forward to. The two of them jumped onto the stage. Nangong Yin was wearing a red robe with shorts and a short shirt. She was wearing a bold and sexy outfit, revealing a pair of jade-like long legs. Her arms were slender and white, just like a pure white lotus root. Her chest was high up, but couldn't compare to the young miss, but it was full and firm, with a deep gap visible. Her beautiful fiery red hair was tied into a ponytail, with a few strands of hair floating around her cheeks. Her whole body gave people the feeling of a raging flame, beautiful and filled with wildness. Feng Kai Dai was wearing a luxurious palace robe. Her body was tightly wrapped. The entire robe was woven from jade, making her look as noble and beautiful as a princess. Her long, pitch-black hair was like a waterfall that draped over her shoulders, almost reaching her waist. However, it was neat and tidy without a trace of disorder. Her beautiful face carried a smile that was neither cold nor hot, gentle and calm. She was a high and mighty, yet amiable and approachable princess. Too beautiful. This was definitely a visual impact. Two peak beauties and two peak experts. Feng Kaidai knew how strong Nangong Yin was, so she did not dare to be careless. Her right hand gently pressed against her waist, and a clear light, shining treasure sword was slowly pulled out. The moment the sword was unsheathed, the originally calm and tranquil stage was suddenly blown up by a series of rapid gales. Famed sword Divine Wind. Is this Shun Fengho's Divine Wind sword? This is a peak-level, top-quality soul weapon. It's already half a step in his spirit linking. The four great families and the mayor's dean were all shocked. This was the sword that Shun Fengho and Feng Yuntian used when they were young. It had a great reputation in southern Xia, having killed several spirit beast chiefs. Shun Fengho had even given his own sword to his daughter. Chu Tian stared at the Divine Wind sword, and his heart was secretly shocked. In terms of quality, the Netherworld sword was a soul-contracting weapon. It was a bit higher than the Divine Wind sword. However, the Netherworld sword had been sealed for too long, so it was very weak. Even after absorbing the elemental energy, it was still far from being restored to its peak, so it did not have its original might. This Divine Wind sword's might was not inferior to the current Netherworld sword. When Feng Kai Dai was still in the body refinement realm, she only had a high-grade spirit weapon, the Autumn Water Sword. It wasn't that Shun Fengho did not want to give her a better weapon, but with Feng Katie's strength at that time, even if she had a better weapon, she would not be able to display its full power. Now that he had given her the top-grade Divine Wind Sword, it was clear that he had high hopes for Feng Kai Dai. Shin Fengho hoped that his daughter would inherit his legacy. Damn, this girl is clearly being shameless. Yin Xiao couldn't help shouting. What kind of skill is this treasure sword? If you have the guts, then fight our elder sister fairly. Stupid. Chu Tian directly knocked Yun Zhao's head. Equipment is a part of strength. If you say it like this, then if I use the Netherworld sword to fight you, wouldn't that be taking advantage of you? Feng Kai Dai held the shining treasure sword in her hand and respectfully cupped her fists at Nangong Yin. Young Miss Nangong, please. Nangong Yin curled her lips and said with a face filled with mischief, It's better if you go first. I'm afraid of being too heavy-handed and injuring Shun Fengho's precious daughter. Feng Kai Dai had a good temper and revealed a faint smile. She was not angry at all. Then I'll go first. Young Miss Nangong, be careful. A clear cry rang out. The nine heavens shook. The blue wand appeared and wild winds rose. The great competition was covered in a strong pressure. The blue wand was a wind-attributed sacred beast, so Feng Katie's attribute was wind. This was clearly inherited from Shan Feng Ho. Because it was a bird-type source spirit, it gave Feng Kai-Dai the ability to fly. Her body gently jumped up and immediately soared into the sky, merging with the blue wand. The divine wind sword danced a few times. The blue sword glow continued to interweave, condensing together like a storm. The sword cry rang out, looking very beautiful and shocking. This is the Wind and Cloud Sword Song. It's Shun Fengho's unique skill. The Chu family all use swords. When they saw this strange sword art, they couldn't help holding their breaths. Even Chu Xinghe knit his brows. This sword art was clearly special. Flashy but impractical. Nangong Yin was not panicked at all. She was filled with confidence. When she saw that Feng Kai-Dai had finished preparing, she finally made her move. Fire-red spirit energy soared into the sky. It was like a burst of flames. With a clear phoenix cry, the fire-red spirit energy filled the air. Most of the stage was covered in a red glow. Even the clouds were dyed red. Such terrifying spirit energy. Nangong Yun's spirit energy is at least 3 times denser than a normal person's. This is the strong amplification effect of the Fire Phoenix's spirit. The 4 great families all had serious expressions. Feng Yuntian also revealed an interested expression. Feng Katie's cultivation was around the same as Nangong Yun's, but in terms of spirit energy quantity and density, Feng Kai-Dai was inferior to Nangong Yi. After all, the Blue Wand could not compare to the Fire Phoenix. The Blue Wand's spirit energy amplification effect was not large. The Blue Wand released a blue glow, instantly dissipating over half a year. The ancient divine beast's pressure followed. Even a sacred beast like the Blue Wand, facing the Fire Phoenix, couldn't help paling. Feng Katie's Blue Wand Sword Spirit was not inferior to Chu Xinghe's Golden Flood Dragon Sword. The Fire Phoenix Sword Spirit was a level higher. Although a Sword Spirit did not represent one's strength, a Sword Spirit had a direct influence on one's strength. Since Nangong Yin had such a strong Sword Spirit, even if she was lacking in other aspects, she still wouldn't be weak. A Blue Wand and a Fire Phoenix, each standing in the air facing each other. Feng Kai-Dai had taken the initiative. She had already formed a strong momentum. She also had a top-quality soul weapon, so she still had the advantage. Take a punch from me first. Nangong Yun's red hair fluttered in the wind. Her right fist sent out a fierce fist wind that was like a giant hammer. It fiercely slammed into Feng Katie's surroundings, instantly dispersing a small part of the spirit energy Feng Kai-Dai had gathered. The entire stage began to shake. Feng Katie's body trembled. She had indeed underestimated Nangong Yun's destructive power. If Nangong Yun closed in on her, Feng Kai-Dai would not have any chance of winning. 9 heavens wind god, lend me your astral winds. The might of the heavens, lead with my sword. The divine wind sword led. The cyan spirit energy turned into dozens of sword chi. The dozens of cyan sword chi did not disperse. They were like dozens of glowing cyan curved blades that revolved around Feng Katie's body. They were currently revolving at a high speed that was hard to see with the naked eye, letting out a sharp cry. Was this the legendary Wind and Cloud Sword Song? Even the Chu family, who considered themselves to be a sword cultivator family, were shocked. They had never seen this kind of sword art before. It was actually able to produce dozens of sword chi at the same time. Furthermore, the sword chi was condensed and did not disperse. They revolved around one's body, and when it was time to kill the enemy, they would be released in one breath. It could defend one's body and also kill the enemy. This was truly an exquisite sword art. Feng Kai-Dai had underestimated Nangong Yun, but Nangong Yun was too careless. She should not have let Feng Kai-Dai make the first move. This Wind and Cloud Sword Song was already very powerful. Moreover, Feng Kai-Dai was borrowing the power of the Divine Wind Sword to release Sword Chi. Would Nangong Yun be able to withstand such an overwhelming attack? Everyone was sweating for Nangong Yun. Nangong Yun's eyes were filled with determination. She did not slow down at all. Like an arrow, She charged straight into Feng Katie's sword chi. A layer of crystal like starlight condensed around her body. She savagely slammed into the sword chi. The crystal like starlight began to crack, but it could not break through her defense. Isn't this Brother Lu's defensive cultivation technique? Feng Kai found that the defensive cultivation technique Nangong Yun used was the same as Lu Ren's. This Nangong Yun and Lu Ren must have some relationship. Otherwise, how could they practice the same cultivation technique? This defensive cultivation technique was too strong. Lu Ren could kill an awakened soul cultivator with his 9th body refinement layer cultivation. It was all because of this strong defensive cultivation technique. Feng Kai was worried that the wind and cloud sword song was too strong and would accidentally harm Nangong Yun's life. But now she no longer had this worry. Go all out. The blue sword chi crisscrossed. It was like a storm as it charged forward. Nangong Yun's wild spirit energy surged forward. Like a raging flame, it suddenly surrounded her body. Heaven-burning fist. The two wild energies collided in the air. Nangong Yun used her fist to shatter most of the sword chi. Everyone was stunned seeing this. This girl was too violent. She actually used her flesh and blood body to block the divine wind sword chi. This brute force made people's hair stand on end. If a triple awakened soul cultivator was hit by this, they would not be able to stand up. Only, there was too much sword chi. The angle of attack was different. Nangong Yun shattered apart, but the rest still fell on Nangong Yun's body, making Nangong Yun's flying speed decrease. There were more and more cracks on the Starlight immortal body, and the Starlight's repair speed could not keep up with the damage. Feng Kai was very cunning. She kept retreating while fighting. Wind-attributed cultivators were very fast. It was not easy for Nangong Yun to catch up to her. Not to mention that the wind and cloud sword song was continuously attacking her, and her speed was decreasing. Everyone could see it. Nangong Yun was good at both offense and defense, and she was very violent. Once they fought in close combat, Feng Kai would not be able to last more than a few rounds. Feng Katie's advantage was her speed. With the powerful divine wind sword and the powerful sword art, she could make up for the difference in attack power. Now it seemed like Feng Katie's speed was a lot faster than Nangong Yun's, and adding in the wind and cloud sword song. S advantage was its continuous suppression. With the limited space on the stage, no matter where Nangong Yun was, she would always be in Feng Katie's attack range. She would not have a chance to catch her breath. It was impossible for Nangong Yun to catch up to Feng Kai under this pressure. Feng Katie's strategy was very clear. She was kiting her opponent. Nangong Yun had a wild strength, but she could not use it. She was completely suppressed. The Starlight immortal body is about to break. Chu Tian knit his brows and said, Nangong Yun will lose. Then what do we do? Yun Xiao anxiously scratched his head. There was no need to doubt Chu Tian's eyes, and now even Chu Tian felt that Nangong Yun would lose. This fierce elder sister was most likely done for. Feng Qingyun gave a snort. His eyes flashed with a cold light. The people from the 4 great families were all whispering to each other. Feng Katie's potential was very strong, and before long, the Central State 4 young masters will become the Central State 5 young masters. The mayor revealed a strange expression and said to Feng Yuntian with a smile, Elder brother, Katie's progress is very gratifying. Only he knew what he was thinking in his heart. Feng Yuntian's face was also filled with a smile. This was all because of that brat's efforts. Now everyone thought that Nangong Yun's defeat was only a matter of time. Nangong Yun was also very annoyed. Damn, he never thought that this stinky girl would be so hard to deal with. If he knew this earlier, he would have charged forward and punched her in the face. Now she was running as fast as a ghost. Could he catch her? If it was in the natural environment, Nangong Yun would have retreated from her attack range and repaired the Starlight immortal body. Then he would have chased after her and used his spirit energy to exhaust his opponent. But the arena space was very limited and the Wind Source Spirit's attack range was very far, so there was no place to hide. He was still in Feng Katie's attack range and could be said to be under intense attacks every second. The Starlight Immortal Body's repair speed could not keep up with the damage. Was she really going to lose? The boss was watching from below. If she lost, she would lose too much face. Nan Gongyin was a very competitive person. She had arrogantly said that she would beat the boss, but if she lost in the competition, she would be too unwilling and too useless. But against Feng Kaidai, there was nothing she could do. No, she wasn't at the end of the line. There was one move that she couldn't use, although she had not truly grasped it yet. Chapter 155. Nan Gongyin was completely suppressed by the Wind and Cloud Sword song, so everyone thought that Feng Kaidai would be the winner. Nan Gongyin was not willing to admit defeat. It was not time to lose yet. When she left South Sky City for Central State City, Chu Tian had given her a cultivation technique, the Great Nirvana Scripture. At that time, Nan Gongyin thought that this Great Nirvana Scripture was a powerful cultivation technique like the Starlight Immortal Body. When Nan Gongyin calmed her heart and carefully studied the Great Nirvana Scripture, she found that she was wrong. This Great Nirvana Scripture was an ancient cultivation technique. It was even stronger than this Starlight Immortal Body, but it was also 10 times more complicated than the Starlight Immortal Body. The materials needed to cultivate it were unheard of. It was a cultivation technique that could not be learned quickly. When Chu Tian gave her the Great Nirvana Scripture, he did not expect Nan Gongyin to learn it. Chu Tian did not bring back many top-level cultivation techniques from the future. Like this Starlight Immortal Body, it seemed very powerful, but in Chu Tian's eyes, it was just a body-tempering cultivation technique. It was only suitable for the early to mid stages, but a cultivation technique like the Great Nirvana Scripture could be practiced continuously. Chu Tian had several of these cultivation techniques in his hands, but because it was too hard to practice, the requirements were too high, and the materials needed were too hard to find, it was basically impossible to practice at this stage. The reason why Chu Tian gave the Great Nirvana Scripture to Nan Gongyin was because he hoped that Nan Gongyin could understand this profound cultivation technique as soon as possible. It would help her practice the burning the heaven art of the Nan Gong family. Nan Gongyin gave a loud roar and punched out, shattering several sword chi. Feng Katie's divine wind sword moved. 7/8 sword chi intertwined, trapping Nan Gongyin in a cage. Then this cage contracted and under the fierce pressure. Pong! Like glass shattering, the Starlight Immortal Body's light exploded, turning into countless specks of light. Broken. It was finally broken. This strong defensive cultivation technique had finally been broken by Feng Kaidai. Feng Katie's attack frequency was too high. It was basically a continuous attack. Even with the Starlight Immortal Body's defense, it couldn't block it. From this moment on, the outcome was already decided. Feng Kaidai had used up 60 to 70% of her spirit energy, while Nan Gongyin had only used up less than 30%. Feng Kaidai had used up even more spirit energy in exchange for an excellent opportunity to win. Stop fighting. You'll get hurt. Feng Kaidai knew that Nan Gong was related to Lu Run, and now that her defense had been broken, Feng Kaidai did not want to hurt Nan Gong. Cut out. I won't surrender. How could Nan Gongyin admit defeat? She condensed an enormous amount of elemental energy and prepared to launch an all-out counterattack. Feng Kaidai had no other choice seeing this because she could not afford to hesitate at all. Otherwise, if Nan Gongyin used the Starlight Immortal Body again, her remaining spirit energy would not be enough to fight another battle of attrition. He waved the divine wind sword. The sword chi wandering around his body were like soldiers who had received orders. All of them began to move, at the same time enveloping Nan Gongyin. Even if Nan Gongyin's strength was strong, it was impossible for her to destroy all the sword chi attacks at once. Victory or defeat would be decided in an instant. At this critical moment, Nan Gongyin suddenly gave a delicate shout. The entire Phantom Fire Phoenix was like a ball of gasoline that had met a flame. It began to burn. The flame was actually a golden red, filled with a holy aura. What is going on? Shun Feng Ho, The mayor, the 4 family heads, and the others all stood up in surprise. Their eyes were filled with shock. This was not the Nangong family's burning the heaven art. Nangong Yun could no longer be seen, but a golden fire phoenix appeared in the air. The blue sword Qi fell onto the fire phoenix, but not only did it not destroy the fire phoenix, it actually strengthened the fire phoenix. The wind helped the fire grow. The fire phoenix let out a long cry and charged at Feng Kai-dai at a speed several times faster than before. Feng Kai-dai was completely stunned facing this burning energy. She never would have thought that Nangong Yun, who was already at the end of her tether, would actually release such a strong counterattack. Nangong Yun's burning figure rushed out from the fire phoenix and punched at Feng Kai-dai. The fist did not even reach her. The berserk energy directly tore apart her protective spirit energy. Feng Kai-dai gave a muffled groan and spat out a mouthful of blood, falling out of the stage. Lost. In the end, Feng Kai-dai still lost. Nangong Yun slowly landed on the ground. Standing in the center of the stage, her face was as white as paper. That attack had used up too much of her strength, making her unable to stand stably. Feng Kai-dai slowly stood up. Her clothes were already burnt, making her look very miserable. But she knew that Nangong Yun had shown mercy at the end, so she did not suffer any injuries. She picked up the divine wind sword and sheathed it at her waist. She cupped her hands towards Nangong Yun. Young Miss Nangong's skill is higher. Kai-dai admits defeat. Consider yourself lucky. Nangong Yun had an ungrateful look. This old lady doesn't have enough spirit energy. Otherwise, with this punch, you wouldn't be able to get out of bed for half a year. This fellow really liked to show off. The mayor gave a sigh. It's a pity. It's a pity. Kai-dai was too careless. Otherwise, with her strength, she could have easily won the championship. A loss is a loss. Kai-dai really can't beat the Nangong family's little girl. Shin Fengho gave 2 generous laughs. As for winning the championship, is that even possible? Even if she doesn't lose to the Nangong family's little girl, she still isn't your son's opponent. It's all the same. It's all the same. The mayor's eyes flashed a few times, but he smiled without saying a word. This competition was actually something he had deliberately arranged. The champion would not be Luo Jinshi, Yi Hin, Chu Wufeng, or even Nangong Yun. It would be a person that no one could think of. Boss, how is it? I'm very strong, right? Nangong Yun jumped off the stage, her face filled with excitement as she walked in front of Chu Tian. I feel like defeating you right now is an easy matter. Boss, don't blame me for not giving you face. I'll go easy on you. Chu Tian looked at her with disdain. You accidentally touched the surface of the great Nirvana scripture and coincidentally combined it with the Nangong family's burning the heavens art. Being able to use it was pure luck, yet you dare say you can beat me with just this little bit of skill? Nangong Yin snorted and said, We'll know once we try it in the finals. This was truly a wonderful battle. However, after Feng Kai-dai and Nangong Yun's battle ended, there was no other good battle. The 6 stages all had their own champions. The 6 of them were Chu Wufeng, Luo Jinshi, Yi Hin, Nangong Yun, Lu Run, and Feng Qingyun. There was no need to doubt the strength of the first 4. As for Feng Qingyun and Chu Tian, they did not have a single good battle. Chu Tian did not even take out his sword as he fought his way to the end. Feng Qingyun had also easily defeated all of his opponents, making it hard for people to see his depths. The first place would be decided among these 6 people. The qualifiers are over. The qualifiers will begin. We asked the top 6 to step onto the main stage. Under everyone's gazes, the 6 champions walked onto the main stage and began the most important qualifiers. According to the rules of the Great Games, the top 6 would have the qualifications to enter the Central State Trial. These 6 people were not necessarily the top 6 of the Great Games. The Great Games would be divided into the qualifiers, ranking, and challenge rounds. The qualifiers had already ended, and the 6 champions had been chosen. Next was the ranking round. The 6 people would first have a large battle, and the judges would rank them according to their performance. Once the rankings were out, it would be time for the challenge rounds. If anyone else was not satisfied with the rankings, they could challenge anyone. As long as they could defeat anyone, they would be able to enter the top 6. It had always been 2 people fighting. It was finally time for the strongest battle. The ranking round was a 6-person battle. Anyone who was knocked off the stage or beaten until they could no longer fight would be eliminated. They would then be ranked according to their performance. On the stage, the 6 people were already in position. Chu Wufeng was a skinny youth. He wore the uniform of the Chu clan and carried a sword on his back. His appearance was rather mediocre, but his eyes were as sharp as an eagle's, like a sharp sword that revealed its brilliance. Luo Jinshi was tall and sturdy with a rough face, just like a lion. He stood on the stage, and a dignified aura filled the air, just like a lion standing on the prairie. Yihan had a medium build, and his aura was restrained. His eyes were cold, giving off a sinister and strange feeling. He was just like a dangerous and deadly demon wolf hiding in the depths of the forest. The 3 of them appeared on stage. Everyone was stunned. These 3 were the most popular super geniuses in Central State Academy. Almost 80 to 90% of the people thought that the champion of the Great Games would be one of these 3. Of the other 3, Nan Gongyun was the most eye-catching. Only after Feng Katie's intense battle, it was unknown if Nan Gongyun had fully recovered. As for Feng Qingyun and Lu Ren, everyone shook their heads. Feng Qingyun was surnamed Feng, so he should be like Feng Kaidai, a member of the Central State City Feng family. Only, Feng Qingyun was an unknown person, so he did not seem like a strong person. That fellow, named Lu Ren, this name meant that he was destined to be a passerby. Although he had a bit of skill, his performance was average. Being able to enter the final stage was probably just pure luck. Even if Feng Qingyun was not famous, he still had an illustrious family background. Lu Ren was just a rogue cultivator, so what kind of skill could he have? The only thing that confused everyone was, why did Yin Xiao, who had a lot of potential, take the initiative to surrender to Lu Ren? But no matter what, no one thought highly of this person. The Great Games had not yet begun. The 6 of them began to look at each other. Chu Wufeng coldly looked at Chu Tian. You have a lot of potential. You shouldn't have offended the Chu family. I'll give you one last chance. Give up on the competition and rely on the Chu family. You'll work for the Chu family, and I'll ask the family head for leniency for you, allowing you to live. The Chu family has enough people. They won't care about one more servant. At this time, Luo Jinshi suddenly said, how about you rely on the Luo family? I'll personally guide you in your cultivation. What do you think? Yihan gave a cold snort, and an invisible spiritual fluctuation was released. Other than working for the Ye family, you have no other choice. Otherwise, I will not let you leave this stage alive. Normal people did not know who Chu Tian was. The people from these large families had already investigated him. Although they did not know Chu Tian's true identity, he had blocked Chu Xing's sword and did not die, so this matter was very easy to investigate. There were even people who knew that he had a relationship with Qilanhao. This person was worth roping in. Ha 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 ha. Nan Gongyun couldn't help laughing. You really are popular. You make me feel jealous. There's no other way. For an outstanding and handsome person like me, I can't hide it no matter how hard I try. Chu Tian was still talking cheerfully. The 3 young masters were all enraged. This damn fellow, he actually did not place the words of the 3 of them in his eyes. At this time, dang, a loud and long bell suddenly echoed in the sky. The finals had officially begun. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.